Let's do it.
Welcome back to another episode of Secondhand Smut. I'm Paul.
I'm Angela.
And this is Secondhand Smut. Crispy edition.
Too legit to quit.
And we're on the air. Do you hear how good we sound?
Crispity crunchy.
Crispity.
Oh my god.
These crispity kiss.
This really makes me want to do ASMR.
Oh, we could totally start doing ASMR.
Oh my god, I would love that.
Maybe we'll just do like a side ASMR thing.
Paul, I would be so good at ASMR with the thousands of hours that I've watched.
What kind of ASMR would we do?
I like a combo of fast-paced ASMR when you're feeling chaotic and crazy.
Oh, okay.
And loud. And then I also like the, like, you can't even hear it.
Like barely whispering.
Yeah, That's when I like really need to go to sleep.
We could do whisper ones where we read from old joke books to each other.
Oh, that would be great.
And they're just old jokes.
They're just old jokes.
Shit you get from the library in middle school.
For sure. Well, this is, so yeah.
I'm super into this.
We're doing it. Huh?
Anyway, if anyone hasn't picked up on it, we finally got a new fucking setup.
We finally got a new setup. God, after 15 episodes.
Yeah, it's
16
so good.
maybe even.
Yeah, I don't remember.
15,
I think it is 15. Yeah, we have
15
one in the
episodes.
bank and then this one.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love it. I can't get enough of it.
I know, it's really exciting, dude.
Yeah, I hope everyone is enjoying this audio experience.
I know I am. Yeah, it's getting me going.
Yeah. Dude. Secondhand Smut FM.
That's right.
All right.
Speaking of secondhand, oh my God. Secondhand smut after dark.
Secondhand Smut after dark.
That's when we do the really raunchy shit.
And we'll do lives so we can like get away with shit and it just won't get
Yes.
saved and we'll just do like lives.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
I love secondhand smut after dark.
Me too.
But that's like a ripoff of Dr. Drew After Dark, so we'd have to work on the late night with secondhand smut. We can work. It's a working title.
It's a working title. We'll figure that out, but that would be a fun thing to do.
It sure would be. Oh, it sounds so good.
It sounds so good. It's crazy.
It really is, dude.
Cool. Get ready. From here on out.
We're unbearable.
Oh, yeah. That's a given.
For sure.
That's why no one listens to this.
I know.
Just kidding.
Still haven't had any hate comments.
No hate comments, so
That's cool, though.
that means no one's listening.
But maybe they will now that we have new mics.
Yeah, honestly, maybe now that the audio experience is an experience.
We'll get listeners.
We'll get listeners.
Yeah.
The quality's up. Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? These TikToks are going to hit. Oh, sorry, not TikToks. What do we call them?
No, TikToks. I mean, TikTok, people are still doing
I know.
TikTok.
I know. I haven't posted anything since
The
it
cancellation.
happened.
Yeah.
But I guess
we
still
can.
should, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to Red Note.
For sure.
We got to do a secondhand smut on Red Note.
Yeah.
Because I was looking on there and they seem to be chill with gay people. Cool gay community on there.
Well, I think we just try it out and see if it gets flagged.
Yeah, and then it is what it is.
Then it is what it is. Then we can
Yeah.
just go back to TikTok. There was something, Paul, when we were in the kitchen that we were talking about.
How bad that fucking chicken curry salad was.
That was bad.
Yeah.
God damn it. I'll never remember it. Are you having issues?
Yeah.
You're having issues.
But as long as you can hear me, it's fine.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I
Just
can hear you
sometimes it's like
great.
my headphones are cutting out.
Well, this is an experiment. We'll see.
Yeah, this
Trial
is our
by
first
fire
time with our new
trial by fire.
equipment.
Trial and error.
Trial by fire.
I guess.
Yeah, dude.
I say the wrong sayings all the time. Dude.
I love that. You know? What I just said that I'll eat when I'm dead.
Is that not a saying?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think it is either.
It's I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Oh, yes, you're
Stupid
right.
idiot. I'll eat when I'm dead is true. And I didn't eat lunch.
Yesterday or
Yesterday.
today? Yeah.
Today I definitely did.
You had Chipotle.
Yeah, Chipotle.
When did you get it by yourself?
No, actually Taylor was getting it unrelated and I happened to call him while he was ordering and was like, "Do you want some?" And then I was like, "Yeah." And then he came over and we ate lunch together.
Oh, isn't that precious?
Yeah, a couple of gays working from home, eating lunch together.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's what the right is afraid of.
That's what the right is afraid of. So, I don't know. I do have one thing.
What?
I'm going to New Orleans.
When? For why?
I'm going for almost a week, 4 days, in February, while you'll be down in Flowtown with Sam and Christine.
And you waited to tell me until I was on camera and being recorded so that I couldn't react.
I sure did.
I'm happy for you.
Uh-huh.
I think that sounds like a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
I hope you and your best friends have the best time in a place I've always wanted to go, doing things I've always wanted to do.
Here's the deal, dude.
Yeah, what's the deal?
I'll like report back, and then after your passion project is done, we'll go down for like a week or 4 days. I feel like 4 days is going to be enough.
That deal didn't do shit for me.
Come on.
What do you? That's like whatever. I mean, it's fine. I'm happy for you. I'm so happy for you. That's gonna be so exciting and fun, and I can't wait to hear all about your adventures. And then when I'm done with my passion project,
Then we'll go.
then I'll go.
With Maggie.
Yeah,
And I will lay in my bed and
Yeah.
cry. I will.
great. I'm glad that we can hurt each other.
We can hurt. There's one thing we can do. It's hurt each other.
Hurt people. Hurt people.
That is
And we's hurt.
Jesus. Is that
We're
the truth?
hurt.
Hurt people. Hurt people.
That's all we do the first like 20 minutes when you come over for the podcast is we just talk about how hurt and broken we are. And then we're like, yeah, let's fire the mics up.
Fire the mics up.
These fresh, new, crispy mics.
It's taking everything in me to not just touch it.
Why? I'm touching mine.
Well, I want to touch this thing.
What, this part?
This thing.
It's like, fine, you can touch it. Shh.
No, you. Shh. Paul.
Okay.
If you say something, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And then this. I wanted to touch this too.
Touch it.
Cool.
New mics. I'm so excited they
You're
worked
giddy
like
over
the
it.
first time.
That's
Well, it was like such.
How much of a stress relief was that for you?
Oh, huge. And that's called investing in yourself.
It is.
And that's what we did.
Yep. First time ever.
Ooh, I love hearing myself. I gotta be real. I love hearing myself.
I do too. I'm like not hating it at all.
Yeah, I'm like, I could maybe just do this.
For sure.
Sitting at home, talking to myself.
You know how people are like, oh, I hate the sound of my own voice? I always was like that my entire life.
Me too.
Until we started doing this.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I don't hate my voice.
You just get over it really quick.
You really do. You get over it.
I,
Do I think I'm stupid? Yes.
who's calling me right now? This
Can you not?
fucking day. Let's just get into
Okay.
it.
I was going to say, I told you that we were going to do our first romantasy book.
Yeah.
But there's like no.
Smut?
No.
Oh.
Do you want to know my ratings?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, I guess I should tell everybody that because I threw the sleeve away, there's no synopsis for Paul to read.
Yeah. So I'm
So
off the hook this time.
you're off the
I don't
hook.
have to sound out all those words.
Yep. You don't have to embarrass yourself.
Yeah.
And
That's
then,
fine. I cut most of that out.
You really do,
I
which I
really
hate
do.
because he
I
struggles. He
The world will
struggles.
never know.
The world will never know how long it takes you to read the back of those
Yeah.
books.
I know.
It's like my favorite
to get a clean
part.
take of it.
It really is my favorite part of this podcast because I just love seeing you not be able to read.
Fail.
Just
You love
you
seeing me fail. We've said it before. We'll say it again.
Dude,
And we'll keep saying it because it's true.
Can I tell you something?
What?
I'm so sad my Topo Chico's like gone.
Oh, I know, me too. I have 2 LaCroix.
And we haven't even started. You do?
Yeah.
Could I have one?
Yeah. I want one.
Thanks, dog.
All right.
Could we have one?
Could we? Let's have one.
Oh my god, I have an idea for that LaCroix in this microphone. Oh. You're picking up what I'm putting down. Ready, Paul? Put your headphones
no,
on
hold on, I
first.
wanna
Yeah.
hear Are you kidding me?
it's
That
not
was like
bubbly
a
enough.
Coke commercial.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Dude.
We're going to really have to not burp into these mics.
I gotta tell
That's
you,
going to be hard for me.
I had no idea how much I like cracking cans
Oh,
in
what
a
about
mic.
this, Paul? What about this, Paul? You do it now. You do it now. That sounds crazy. God, we're such nerds for these mics. No one's going to give a shit.
I don't care. This is the intro.
This is the intro. New mics, baby. God, that's good.
Oh.
If you spilled that whole thing right now, that would be a tragedy.
Did you see how much you spilled on your laptop?
No, I didn't. Dang.
Okay.
Anyway, that was fun.
That was so fun, dude.
Okay, I'm going to get into ratings
Okay.
for this. The Shadows Between Us by Sorry. By Tricia Levenseller.
Levenseller.
I know, right? I gave this book a 3.65 rating.
That's still pretty high rating.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
If I give something a 3.5, it's not It's not great.
Okay.
I think 3.5 is the lowest I've ever got. Well, no, I've gone to 3.
Yeah.
But this is like a 3.5, 3.65. It's not great.
Okay, it's not great.
I was entertained.
Yeah.
Smut 0.5%. 0.5 chili peppers.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, does anyone even get nude?
They get nude, but you'll find out how.
Okay.
So it's just a fantasy book with some romance, some yearning.
Okay.
But absolutely no smut at all. So
Magic?
No.
Okay.
I know.
I gotta tell you.
Paul, I gotta tell you.
This is getting hard.
I gotta tell you something. I have a review here, but I don't know if I should say it to you because it might poison the well.
Poison the well.
You want me to poison the well?
This well's poisoned.
Okay. Very fast-paced.
Okay.
This is the storyline. Predictable, not much opposition to any of the issues. All the conflicts were very easily solved, but it was entertaining. And the end drew me in a little bit.
Okay. How'd you hear about this book?
I saw it on TikTok, and then it was on a list of mine, and I was gifted this for Christmas.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Who gave it to you?
Either my mother or my aunt.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you which one.
That sucks that it got such a low rating.
I know. I just thought it was going to be different.
Yeah.
It's this author's, I think, first romantasy book, and you can tell.
Yeah. Dipping the toes in.
Dipping the toes in, but not very deep.
I'm just like, no magic.
No magic.
Where's
It's just
the
not
fantasy?
that kind. It's more like fantasy as in like, as I was reading it, I was picturing Skyrim.
Yeah, well, when
With
I
no
picture
magic.
Skyrim,
With
my
no
hands
magic.
have magic.
With no magic.
I have fireballs in my hand.
I know. I know.
Lightning.
But just as like the houses and
I
the,
get
and the
you. I get the
palaces
time.
go.
The time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the plague.
So I'm sorry, I don't want to poison the well.
Oh, it's fine. I already hate this book. I never want to ever read it, and I hate it.
All right, let's get
think
into
it's-
it. On that note,
Yeah.
it will suck you in at the end.
Okay.
I know it will.
With a little bit of magic.
I wish. Okay. Well, I guess the Shadow King is that's magic. But
The
it's not
Shadow
magic.
King better be magic.
Oh, it's not magic like you want, is what I'm saying. I know you too well. I know
okay,
it's
I
just not what
know.
you're.
I know.
Okay, so we get our introduction to the main female character, Alessandra. And she is talking to herself about the first man she ever killed, her first love, Hector. She says, maybe this will draw you in just a little bit. They've never found the body of the first and only boy who broke my heart, and they never will. I buried Hector Galenus in a hole so deep, even the devils of the earth couldn't reach him.
Okay, that's cool. So she's kind of like a killer assassin.
So, she's a noble lady. Her father is an earl. This is all going to be about like royal people.
Okay.
Upper echelon. She's talking to herself about Hector and all that stuff. Alessandra enjoys the company of many men. She's
And
18.
a couple women?
She's 18, by the way. No women, but there is a gay character in this.
All right.
She enjoys the company of many men.
Whore.
Yep.
Okay.
She's a whore.
She's a whore.
And Hector was who she lost her virginity to 3 years ago. And then she killed him when he was like, sorry, I'm over you. I've got another woman now.
So she was 15,
she was
which is like
15.
27 in medieval times.
In medieval times.
You know?
This is very medieval, yes.
Yeah.
So she's 18 now. He's been dead for 3 years. And obviously no one knows she killed him.
Was he royalty? Prince?
He was of noble blood, yeah.
Okay.
He was. So, but in these medieval times, people cannot know that she's sleeping around. You are supposed to be a virgin until you marry your husband. So what she does is she tries to blackmail everyone she has sex with for them to keep their mouths shut.
Okay.
So that's how she keeps her reputation in check.
She gets dirt on all of them.
So we find out that
That's so much work.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
For a little dick.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it says that she has slept with dozens of men.
Oh, that's not that many.
Dozens? I think dozens is a decent amount.
Oh, okay.
I'm picturing like 4 dozen.
Okay. 2 different sides of
For the coin.
the coin on that one.
Yep. That's funny. So her older sister's now married off. So now it's her turn to be married off for a bride price, which is like a dowry.
Okay.
So her father is like, we got to get you married off. I'm going bankrupt. I need the money. She's like, well, I've got other plans. I plan to marry the Shadow King.
And who's the Shadow King?
He is the king of the kingdoms.
Kingdoms of Shadows.
No, just the kingdom that we live in.
And they
doesn't
just
even
call
have
him
a
the
name.
Shadow King.
Yeah, well, because you'll find out.
Okay.
You're jumping ahead.
Okay. I'm just... Because his shadow is alive and he
You'll
sends it
see.
to attack people?
You will see.
Okay.
He was coronated a year ago after his father, the king, and his mother, the queen, were murdered. So he's been
so
king.
he's young.
He's 19.
He's 19.
He's been king for 1 year. Anyway, she's like, my plan is to woo this guy, marry him, kill him, and take over this every fucking kingdom in the world.
Oh, she's got a Black Widow
This is what she wants.
Concept going.
So, cut to. They are at a ball. The king is throwing a ball. He's got women suitors everywhere. They're trying to marry him off. And her and her father go. They arrive at the palace. It's on top of like a mountain. Big, huge, all black, gothic mansion, castle, palace.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally on board.
Yep.
Matte black.
Yes.
Is what I'm looking for.
Yes. All gothic.
Maybe
Gothic masterpiece. For sure. And so I'm going to read to you the description of the Shadow King so you can get a sense for what
He better at least be fucking hot.
He's hot.
It's hard for me to think he's hot because he's 19.
Because he's 19, I know. He's like as hot as he can get. Black. Well, here.
He's not ripe yet.
Okay. I've never laid eyes on the man before, and now I'm free to observe him as long as I like, while momentarily hidden among the other guests. His name, it would seem, is well deserved, and in line with all the rumors I've heard. Tendrils of shadow halo his entire outline. So I'm picturing kind of like in like just wisps of black.
That's what I'm
all
thinking.
around
I'm thinking
him.
Like
they swirl.
It's like aura. It's like smoke almost.
Yes, it's like smoke.
Radiating.
They swirl around him as though they're alive, caressing his skin, dissolving into nothing as he moves. Blah 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 blah.
It's like the spell "Pass Without Trace."
Oh, there you
Dungeons
go.
and Dragons.
Okay, nice.
That's what it sounds like.
Yep. So, and he's got like a very sharp nose, black sleek hair,
Long.
like here.
Yeah, I hate it. Slicked back and it's here.
No.
Okay.
Like your length, but on the top, but all the way around the head.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Is what I would
Don't
say.
love it,
Yeah.
but I'll take it.
For sure.
Beard.
No.
Okay.
No beard. It's a bummer.
It's a bummer.
Yeah. It's
So far, I'm not horned up for this boy.
And all I've been reading is cowboy smut, and it's like, he's a.
You want a real man.
I want a fucking man.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so her and her father are there. They're dancing around. She's smooching with all the other noble people. She's being hit on by a lot of them. Like, everyone's like, oh, Chrysantha, your sister's married off. Now it's your turn. So, everyone's shooting their fucking shot.
So how noble is she, though?
Her father is an earl. I don't know what that is. I don't know what the fuck.
So, okay, but not, yeah. She's
so
not
I don't know.
Princess.
No, she's not a fucking princess.
No, okay.
No.
She's just noble.
Yeah. And so, but she's not giving, the time of day to the Shadow King.
Well, that's how you play the game.
That's how you play the game.
That's called negging.
Women aren't allowed within 5 feet of the Shadow King. In fact, it's illegal to touch him, and it's illegal to get any closer to him than that.
Sounds gay.
So he comes up to her a little while later after watching her, and he's like, your outfit, that's very interesting.
Why? Wait, what was she wearing?
She makes all of her own clothes.
Fashionista.
Uh-huh. She's wearing pants.
A woman?
A woman. With an overskirt over it, so it's got this...
Ew.
Not a... It's like a...
2000s fucking...
No, medieval
jeans
times.
Over underskirt.
No.
No, I get what you're saying.
Do you?
Yeah, where it's pants and then maybe a fruffy little thing.
Something like that.
But it sounds piratey.
It does.
Yeah.
And she is wearing all black head to toe. Everyone else in the kingdom is wearing green because that's supposedly his favorite color.
Okay. It's fucking followers,
she's a rebel.
Losers.
Right. He asks her to dance, and she's like, what? And everyone's like, what? He doesn't dance with anybody.
You can't touch him.
You can't touch him. So they're doing this dance where they're 5 feet away from each other, Paul.
Oh, okay. So they left room for Jesus.
Jesus in the room is in the room.
Is in the room with it. It was between them.
Mm-hmm. So she's like, wow, okay, whatever. They dance for a couple songs in a row. Everyone's watching them. And then afterwards, he's like, thank you for the dance. She turns around and leaves. And she's like, what the fuck just happened? She's like, whatever.
Yeah.
So she's going to leave. She's like in her carriage, and she gets a note passed to her. And it's him saying like, the king requests your presence in the whatever.
But is he hot? Because he doesn't sound hot.
She's attracted to him.
Because I'm like, the description didn't get me going. The way he's acting is like not hot.
Yeah.
I'm like, you seem awkward and weird. And then
It's
getting
mysterious.
this like
It's
note.
mysterious.
Oh, because to me it sounds like a coward.
Okay, to her,
like
it's mysterious.
social awkward weirdo.
Yeah.
But whatever.
For sure.
You know?
Well, I'm not attracted to this guy, but she's
into it. Okay, she likes twinks. Okay.
For sure. So she gets taken to a room, and he's like, the servants are like, all of your belongings will be delivered here tomorrow. And she's like, oh, am I staying?
I'd be like, I didn't ask for that.
But yeah, she's staying. So the next day, she gets invited to tea in the forest. And it's not a private tea. All the nobles that live in the castle. You know, when you live in a palace, there's a lot of people around. A lot of people just... Did you watch...
I know.
Did you watch The Great... Anyway, just there's a lot of people that live there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, she goes there. It's all these noble people. Everyone's hot. Everyone's good looking. They're all at this tea place. They're aristocrats.
Yeah, of course. Fancy.
Uh-huh. And she's noticing that all the women are wearing black, and some of them are wearing pants.
Fucking copying ass trendsetter Regina George. Fucking try me.
Yeah.
That's, you know, it's gonna happen. People copy.
Yes. So she meets the king's right hand man, Vasco. He was also his father's right hand.
All right.
The hand to the king.
I get it.
If you do. And she meets all the other members of his court, or of his council as well. The treasurer, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Then the king shows up with his like huge dog. It's like the size of a wolf. And she's like, oh my God, I love your dog. And they play fetch and they talk for a little bit. And he's like, so intriguing to me, Alessandra.
Ugh.
And then he leaves. And they only talk for like 2 seconds.
I don't like it.
And then she's like, well, I need to make some friends.
Okay.
So she goes and talks to these 2 girls.
Yeah.
And
are they wearing black and pants?
One of them is.
Lame.
One of them is not.
Lame.
And their names are Hestia and Rhoda.
Okay.
I don't like the names in this book either, I'll tell you.
No, yeah.
And then a man approaches her. And we learn that his name is Leandros, and he is Vasco's nephew. Vasco is
the right hand. Okay.
So after tea, all the ladies go to the embroidery room for gossip time.
I would love to do that, bro.
Yep.
I would tear up in the embroidery room gossiping.
For sure. And she was like, well, if you don't mind, I don't want to embroider. I've got some pieces I'm working on that I'll finish. So she brings her fabric down and she works on her
I was going to
pieces.
say, I wouldn't embroider. I'd macrame. But...
Exactly. So they're gossiping, and she finds out that the king has asked all of these people to live in the castle.
Because he gets scared at night.
He needs a lot of
I get scared.
help. And it's all the people that were present on the night that his mother and father were killed. He thinks it was an inside job.
Oh, he's murder mystery in this.
He's trying to figure out who killed
No
his
one
mom
leaves
and
until
dad.
we figure out who the killer is.
And it's been a year and he still hasn't figured it out.
Do you see? This dude is not impressing me.
He's not
like
impressive.
Not hot. He's not like smooth. Sounds like an incel.
Well, and also he's a dick. Not to her, but like in general.
He is like a
he's
dick.
An asshole.
Yeah,
He conquers lands. He colonizes lands. He's like an asshole. He's kind of an anti-hero. She is too. They're both not great people.
Okay.
I don't know if that was on purpose or I was like,
or
you both just
you just
suck.
made bad people.
You just made bad people
because I don't like him.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, so she gets a letter from him that's like, I seek your presence for dinner. And so she's waiting for him in his father's old library, and he walks through the wall. So when he's in shadow form, he's not solid.
Yeah.
He can walk through walls. People can walk through him, blah, 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 the whole thing.
That's magic.
That's magic.
That's magic.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to need to get that from him.
That would be cool.
I'd kill him for it.
And there's more aspects to it that I'll get into later.
So is it like a thing that's like passed down from king to king?
It is.
Okay.
It is. It's a hereditary thing. His great-great-great-grandfather got the power through the devil. There was like some story.
Okay.
So finally at dinner, she's just like, hey, what do you want and why am I here? And he's like, well, what I want is to take over the world. Every last remaining kingdom in this land, I want to take over. That's my goal. I want to extend my reign as far as I can.
That's a little hot.
For sure. 19,
but can I not colonize while I do it?
You can try, but I don't think they're going to go willingly.
Yeah, but I'll just be like, mine. Do whatever you want. I don't care what you guys do.
But you're mine.
But you're my kingdom. And so I'll still like give you like aid and support if you're ever in trouble.
Yeah, he's
but
not
other
like
than
that.
Be chill.
For sure, he's not like that at all.
Oh, that's how I would do it.
Yeah, he's like pillaging and shit.
Okay.
So, because he's 19, he can't do anything without the council's approval. He can't make executive decisions.
Okay, never mind.
Until
not hot.
Not hot until he's 21.
21?
I know.
That's so old.
And also, they're on his back about getting married and making heirs because there's no other heir besides him. So he says, what I want is for you to be here so you can appease the council and I will fake court you.
You're my beard.
It's a fake dating thing.
This is a beard thing.
So he goes, however, I don't want to produce an heir. I don't wish to do that. This will just get them off my back. And he goes, you're beautiful, but you're not beautiful enough to tempt me. And you clearly don't want to be queen. So I think you're the perfect candidate. And she's like, first of all, fuck you.
Go fuck yourself.
First of all, fuck you.
Yeah.
Second of all, what makes you think I don't want to be queen? Like,
well, I don't want to be queen. I want to be king.
Exactly.
I would like to take your position.
He's like, your attitude, you don't try to woo me, you're kind of rude, so like I think this could work perfectly. And he's like, what do you want out of life? And she says, acknowledgement. And he's like, well, you'll get plenty of acknowledgement being my fucking girlfriend. So she's like, okay, I agree to fake date you.
This is so fucking gross, dude. I hate it.
Well,
I'd be like, I have no interest in finding out more.
I'm like, is this YA?
Is it? Yeah. But even still, these characters are gross. They suck.
Well, I feel like I would write this when I was like 13. Anyway, so she gets back to her quarters. And like I told you, shit moves fast. And you're like, okay, yeah, this is moving quick. So she gets back to her quarters and there's an ex-lover of hers in there, Myron. And he's like, hey. And she's like, fuck you. Get out of here.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, come on, you know you want to bed me down. And she's like, I'm courting the king now, so get the fuck out. And he's like, I bet that king of yours would hate to hear about how much of a whore you are and get rid of you if you found out you weren't a virgin. And she's like, whatever, I know you've got a gambling problem and you owe debts to everyone in the land and you got rid of your family heirloom as a debt. So it's like, fuck you. I'm going to tell your dad and he'll disinherit you. So keep your fucking mouth shut. And he's like, and leaves.
Like he's gonna still tell?
He's pissed because he's like, this bitch better not tell people that I'm against.
She needs to kill him.
For sure.
She gotta kill him.
For sure.
Just loose lips.
For sure. So the next day during breakfast, the king enters the room and like the dining room where everyone's having breakfast, and he announces, I'm courting Alessandra now. We are now together.
Send the other bitches home.
Yes. All the men like scurry away from her. Except for Leandros, which was Vasco's nephew. If you remember.
Yes.
The right hand's nephew,
yes.
Leandros. So he's just chatting her up. He's just like, oh, so you're courting the king now, are you? And he was nice to her when they had tea. And she's like, okay, maybe I'll have one friend here. Besides
one
these other
fuck buddy here.
For sure. She's flirting with him back.
Well, yeah.
So
in front of everybody, hello, you're courting the king.
She's kind of shameless about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's why he thinks that you're courting the king. Get it together.
So then she goes to have breakfast with Callias. Callias is the Shadow King. That's his name.
Okay.
Callias. So we're going to switch from Shadow King to Callias. Cal. No, I'm going to say Callias.
Okay.
He's like, you look exquisite this morning. She's like trying to dress up for him every single day.
Yeah, you're courting
She's trying to woo
king.
him so she can marry him so she can kill him. You know, so she's like, this is perfect. We're fake dating. Now all I got to do is get him to really love me. This is easy.
Yeah.
I'm already dating him.
Yeah.
You know? And she's like, I thought you said I wasn't beautiful. And he's like, whatever.
Oh, you.
And then he goes, well, how does it feel to be acknowledged now that everyone knows?
Empty and hollow,
whatever,
not like I thought
nice.
it would. Oh.
She's like, whatever, it's nice. So then she gets back to her quarters. She already has like a stack of invitations to balls and shit. She asks Callias to accompany her to a play. But he's like, no, I've got 7 kingdoms. Sorry, girl. Like, you're going to have to.
I need to go phase through some walls. Sorry.
For sure. And so he's like, sorry, no, but like, let's have dinner. So they have dinner and she starts asking questions about his parents. And he's like, yes, I do think it was an inside job that someone killed them. I'm trying to figure out who it was. And I'm thinking it was someone on my council.
I'm just like, you don't think that maybe in the year that you've kept these people there that the killer found his way out?
In a year, all he's figured out is that he thinks it's someone on his council.
This dude's a joke. This king is a joke.
All the characters are not good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
She doesn't seem that cool.
She's really not.
Yeah. She seems like she's trying to be cool.
Oops, I burped. So then later that evening in her chambers, she gets a letter from her father saying, "Oh, congratulations, I heard you're courting the king now. Hurry up and get a fucking ring on it. I'm going bankrupt." Also, I got a visitor today from a constable and Sir blah, blah, blah. Hector's father. You remember Hector. You knew him 3 years ago.
Oh, no. They found the body.
So he's just...
No body, no crime.
No body, no crime, for sure. So he says... Hector went missing 3 years ago. His father is like, I think foul play is at play here.
The fouls are playing.
The fouls are playing.
The fouls play.
And see, I'm good at saying.
The fouls play here.
So he's looking around and she's like, oh shit. And then we get a flashback of how she killed him. She stabbed him in the heart because he was like, I'm leaving you. And then she put him in a trunk and took the trunk and dug a hole, so deep that even the devils couldn't find him.
I bet it wasn't that deep.
It probably wasn't that deep, dude.
It probably felt that deep to a 15-year-old.
For sure.
But it probably wasn't that
It's like when you go back
deep.
and you're like, oh, this house is smaller than I thought it was.
Yeah. That hole's a lot shallower.
Yeah.
So you can see the trunk with his body.
So she's like, oh shit, that's not going to be good. Anyway, she goes back to the gossip or the embroidery room for gossiping. And the women are like, tell us what the king is like. We need to know what the king is like. And she lies because she's like, well, I never see him. So she was like, oh, we have secret meetings at night, and he's even kissed my hand, my gloved hand.
Oh my God.
And they're like, what? That's crazy. How scandalous. They can't believe it.
Fucking slut. You slut.
Kissed your gloved hand.
Kissed your glove. Well, you know what? Wear the glove.
For sure.
Protection first.
There you go.
That's gloved up.
Paula's book. And then, then we've been due for a bad book.
Yeah, this is a palate cleanser. It's like the balance of Crespe Numax
and then
a shitty book, baby. We are so back.
Oh my God, it is. It's very funny. Anyway, he barges into her rooms later that night, and he's like, I'm hearing rumors that you're telling people... I never
kissed your fucking hand, you whore.
Yes. I'm hearing people you told me we touched. Don't ever fucking do that again. You're making me look weak.
You know what's making you look weak? All the weak shit you're doing.
You're fucking weak.
You can't even rule without your fucking counsel. I'm over it. I'm mad at him.
Dude, for real.
I can't.
She goes, hello, I'm trying to sell our courtship. Like, I thought you wanted people to think we were actually courting each other.
Yeah.
Next morning, he comes in. Sorry for being a dick. Sorry for yelling at you. I'll be cool. I'll be chill. Sorry, I lost my shit last night. He's also, in that same breath, is like, I'm sorry. And then he's like, noticing all these men keep talking to you around court. And she's like, oh, do I detect a hint of jealousy?
Ugh. Seriously, big incel vibes. Doesn't know how to interact with women, is more concerned with what other men are doing.
For sure.
That relate to a woman.
Just make a fucking move.
Yeah, make a fucking move.
We'll find out why he does, but we'll just, I'm just saying. So that night, Myron, her ex-lover, sneaks into her room again. And he goes, oh, that blackmail that you had over me? Guess what? My father died. My brother inherited. My brother doesn't give a shit that I'm a gambler and doesn't give a shit that I lost that family heirloom. So guess what? Now you have no blackmail over me, and I'm going to tell everybody you're a whore. Should have just killed him. Should have. Yep. Well, and in the book, she's like, I can't just kill him right now. She was like, it was so hard to kill Hector. There would be so much blood. I can't kill Myron right now as much as I want to. So she's like, I got to figure out. What
do you mean you kill him and then you scream so loud?
True.
And then when they come in and you're covered in blood and you're crying, you're like, he was trying to rape me because I'm courting the king and he had to have what the king had. God damn it.
Easy.
No one knows how to do nothing.
Dude, for real. I feel your pain right now.
Yeah, I would have handled that so well.
You would have.
Ugh, I'd be queen right now.
He was like, what you're going to do is you're going to take me to all these parties and balls that your boyfriend won't go to you with. And I'm going to hang on your arm and you're going to introduce me to all the fellow noble people. And I'm going to ask them to invest in my new business venture. I want to buy a fleet of ships to
go to the new world.
To go to trading ships.
Yeah.
He's like, because then I can pay back all my debts once I start trading. He's like, you sound like a loser, dude.
Yeah.
It's like,
you sound like a
do you need another
bro.
business venture? Right, exactly. It's like, you already owe people money. You're going to start anyway. So that's his plan.
Great. Her. I'm like, how are we supposed to go out together? People are not going to be chill if you and I are just going to balls together when I'm courting the king.
Apparently they are in this book.
I would have been like, hey, king.
He's like, I'm here in the king's stead, like
Okay.
in his absence.
Yeah, but I mean, I know what stead means.
I wasn't sure if you did. I'm sorry.
I just mean like, fucking, wouldn't the king be like, I didn't authorize that?
No, well, the king is, because the king's like, take someone with you, because I'm telling you no
okay.
to all of these things. So...
Oh, then I'd be like, easy, and we can probably still fuck a little bit if you want to.
For sure. Right before the play, so she meets up with the king again for like breakfast or lunch or dinner or something like that. And he's like,
a meal.
There's a bandit in the kingdoms. He's robbing noble people, stealing their shit, and giving it to all the peasants.
Oh, where have I heard that before? So fucking familiar.
What is that story?
Whose dick
Who was
is
that?
Huh.
Yep.
Was that in the Bible?
So we've got,
No.
Robin Hood situation here. And
she's gonna fook him.
She's like,
the king is Robin Hood.
You'll see.
Okay.
And then he's kind of just like confiding in her a little bit more and more. She's like, I'm trying to get this guy to open up to me so he can fall in love with me. And then he talks about like some other issue he has with a kingdom he's trying to take over and their uprising. And she gives him some advice. Oh, why don't you let them elect an official on their own instead of just like blah, blah, blah.
Why don't you give them the illusion of power so they think that they have something before you crush them?
And he's like, God, you're so fucking smart.
Something's different about you.
Yeah. So
what are you doing to me?
So they go to an event, her and Myron, and he's being super fucking annoying and trying to schmooze people and get money out of people. She finally gets rid of him and she sees Leandros and she's like, oh my God, thank God, Leandros, you're here.
Yeah.
And he's like, you look beautiful tonight. And he's just like laying it on her so fucking thick.
Is he the gay character?
No, he's the Han's nephew.
Yeah, but is he going to end up being the gay
No, he's
character?
not.
Okay.
He's friends with Reuben and Petros. Leandros, Reuben, and Petros used to be best friends with Callias before he was king. And after he was coronated a year ago, he's not spoken to them once. But he still has them living in the castle.
Because they might have killed his parents because of the...
Yeah. So, and she's become good friends with Reuben and Petros too. Petros is the gay one.
I thought so.
Yep. Leandros is like talking to her at this play and she sees some woman scowling at her and Leandros is like, that is Lady Zevras. She was the late king's girlfriend before the king met the queen and fell in love with the queen and kicked her ass to the side.
Oh, scorned lover.
Yeah, scorned lover. And then Leandros is like, the king also used to have an older brother that no one talks about. His name was Xanthos, and he was killed before the parents were killed.
Okay.
And she's like, wow, interesting. No one talks, like, I didn't know.
Yeah, why would
that.
no one talk about that?
So, some time passes. She's continuing to request the king's presence at events. He's continuing to decline. And she's just like, we're not spending enough time together. Like, no one's buying that we're together. I'm running out of excuses for you. She's like, how am I supposed to make him fall in love?
Also, it's like 5 feet. What the fuck?
What's the deal?
What's the deal?
Yeah. So she's like, I'm going to go seek him out in his meeting rooms and discuss this because I've had enough. And as she's like walking through the hall trying to find him, Leandros cuts her off. And he's just like, oh, have you decided to leave the king yet and court me instead? And she's just like, oh, wouldn't you like that? And she's like, he's so cute. He's so fucking hot. I wish I could.
Yeah, well, it's like if this doesn't work out.
For sure.
Call that a back burn.
Yeah. He's not pushy, but he's always just saying things like, oh, well, when he kicks your ass to the curb, I'll be there for you. And so she finally gets into the meeting room after she's like, okay, Leandros, go. I have something to do. He's in there. The whole council's in there. They're like clearly talking about issues. And he's like, remember that bandit issue I told you about? Well, we still haven't caught him. He just robbed somebody else. And now more riches are going down to the peasants.
Okay.
Such a piece of shit about that.
Maybe it's...
And so
Leo?
She goes, well, I have an idea. Why don't you do this? Why don't you make some new coins, just put a new stamp on it, give it to all the nobles, and then once you see the coins...
Yeah, once they get in circulation, you track them back to who is using them and how they got them.
And he's just like, that's an amazing idea.
Yeah, it's called ruling, piece of shit.
He goes, we're going to do that right now.
Yeah.
And she's like, God, I impressed him. I impressed the council. Like, I'm so smart.
I'm fucking the queen. I'm the queen.
She's like, I'm already the queen.
Oh.
But he's like, oh, but also, and then she's like, we're not spending enough time together. And he goes, I'm sorry, but I'm still not I can't spend more time with you. I'm so busy. I'm in meetings all fucking day, ruling the entire land.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, but I'll keep sending you gifts. And she's like, I don't fucking want your goddamn gifts.
I want your
time. Yeah.
Whatever, you could send me gifts.
Anyway, so now she's devised a plan to get rid of Myron because they've gone to a few events together and she can't stand being around him any longer.
I mean, you can't ask the king to kill him.
For sure.
The king should be able to kill people here and there.
Yeah, if he wants.
Yeah.
Especially in medieval times. I mean, fuck it.
Can't you get a pardon?
Funny you say that. Anyway, so she's meeting up with Reuben and Petros and Leandros. And she's like, I got to get Myron off my fucking back. Reuben is betrothed to a woman whom he hates. And she hates him too. She's an awful person. And he's like, I really can't have this marriage go through. And she's like, how about we have a mutual beneficial situation here?
Yeah.
I'll use you to help me get rid of Myron, and I will help you get rid of Malita, your fiance.
Ay, Malita.
So Reuben gets 5,000 Nakos for her. That's like their currency.
Monies.
What she has done is she's taken that money. She's figured out that's Myron's debts. She's paid off everyone who Myron owed money to. And now he is indebted to her for $5,000. And basically, she's just like, you owe me fucking money now. And I want you to get the fuck out of this palace.
So she bought his debt from his...
Yes.
Whatever. Debtors. Creditors.
Uh-huh.
And I would be like, no... I still have blackmail on you.
I don't know how this was... Yeah, I don't know how it was solved.
Yeah, I was like, I have blackmail on you. If anything,
I was just like, how
now
is this?
now I don't owe you $5,000.
I know. I didn't... I was...
And if you ask me for $5,000, I'm going to tell you.
I was like, how is this problem solved right
now?
No,
it feels like she made the problem hers now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because before she could have gone and told the people he owed money to, and then they go and like beat him up or something.
I was confused.
Well, that's on her, you know. She's the queen.
Maybe I didn't understand.
I don't get that. I feel like she made herself.
Yeah, she paid off all of his debts, and now he owes her everything. And I guess she's like, "You fucking owe me, so I own you now."
I guess what, like, because if he doesn't pay, then she can get him arrested. Maybe. All right, it's loose, but it's a book.
For sure.
It's loose.
The getting rid of Reuben's fiance thing is going to come at another time.
Okay.
Okay, just so you know. Okay, so after some more time, Vasco, the hand, corners her and is like, I know you guys are fake dating. There's no fucking way this is real.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
No way.
You don't even see each other.
He's like, I'm with the king all day long, so I know you're not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would just like sometimes he like phases his head through the wall and like says hi to me. I don't know.
For sure. Okay, so she's like, oh fuck, this guy like isn't buying it. Anyway, so she goes and finds Callias and is like, you need to spend more time with me. We're never seen in public. If we were truly courting each other, we would be all over each other, and you won't even fucking touch me. And then he's like, still telling her no. So then that night she gets a letter from her sister, who's a twat, by the way. And her sister's like, hey, I was visited by Hector's dad and a constable, and I told him that you used to fuck him, but I don't think you killed him. She's a bitch.
Bitch.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me, I'm a virgin.
Right.
What do you mean I'm a virgin is what my letter would have said back.
Yep. So...
You're not sounding like yourself.
You're not sounding like yourself.
You know I'm a virgin. You're not sounding like yourself right
Gaslight.
now.
Amazing. So that night, she's pissed that Callias is still telling her no. She's pissed at her sister. She's freaked out about Hector, all this fucking shit. So Leandros comes to her door, and he's like, I'm sneaking you out of the castle. Put these on. And they're peasant clothes. And they sneak out of the castle. She's wearing peasant clothes.
Oh, my God.
And he takes her to an underground boxing club. And they get drunk, and they're like...
And they fight.
Flirting, and they're having fun. And she's like, oh my God, I love Leandros. Like, I'm so grateful for his friendship, all this shit. And they gamble. And then she, at the end, is like, I'm going to get in the ring. She's all drunk.
Okay.
And because they save women fights for the last...
Because, they're the funnest.
Right. And anyway, she gets KO'd.
Oh.
She gets knocked the fuck out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. It like leaves a mark.
It leaves a mark. So she comes to, and Leandros is like carrying her, and they're like outside her door, and he drops her off, and he like kisses her bruise on her face.
And it heals magically.
And she like puts her hand in his hair, and she like is going to kiss him, and she stops herself, and she's like, okay, good night. Thank you for a fun night. I'm courting
the king.
Right.
She's fucking fumbling this so hard.
Really
it's crazy.
She really is. She opens her door there's Callias sitting on her bed, and he's been sitting on her bed all night. He went there like right after she left, waiting for her. He was going to ask her to go out with him.
Okay, but I mean,
too little, too late.
Too little, too late. Send a fucking messenger or something.
He's like, why the hell were you with Leandros all night, and why didn't you kiss him back just now? Because he was watching.
Because he could see through.
I guess
with his shadow powers.
I don't know.
Because I'm courting the king. Remember?
Yeah, right. And she kind of yells at him. She's just like, you know what? Fuck you, dude. Like, you have not talked to me in weeks and weeks. You won't spend any time with me. You won't tell me why. Just send me home. If you want to just send me home, send me home.
Yeah, if this deal's not working for you, let's not do this.
He's like, well, I came here to apologize to you and to spend more time with you, but now I'm not. So he walks through the wall and leaves.
Puss!
Yeah.
What a little fucking...
Puss!
He's gonna throw a fit. He just gets to storm out of any direction, always.
Yes.
I mean, I do like that.
So the next morning she's like, well, I'm sure they're going to kick me out. I'm expecting to come back from breakfast and have no belongings, in my room. But she gets back to her room and everything's still there. And then she gets a note from someone who says, you are to be seen out front. And she gets into a carriage and Callias is in the carriage. And she's like, what's going on?
I would say this is how you do it. You invite me on a fucking date. You don't
Yes.
surprise show up to my quarters.
Right.
When I'm drinking with a boy.
Yes. For real.
And now we're courting.
So she gets in the carriage. She doesn't say a word to him. He doesn't say a word to her. And she can tell they're like going uphill and it's like crazy. And then all of a sudden she like loses her footing. They hit a pothole and she falls into him. But she falls into him. Through him.
Yeah.
Because he's got his shadows up.
Does he always have his shadows up?
He always has his shadows up.
Oh my God, calm
Always
down.
has his shadows
Seriously.
up. So she like is like, what? I just fell through you. She's like, I knew you could walk through walls, but
now I've been inside you.
I've been inside you. And so she pulls back and she's like, are you a real person? And he's like, yes, I'm a real person. He goes, I can shadow shift. When I'm in shadow form, I am immortal. No one can harm me. No one can hurt me. No one can touch me.
Oh, so he is just a big scaredy cat.
I could live for the rest of my life and rule for the rest of my life if I never, ever touch someone. If I touch someone skin on skin, I cannot put my shadows up when I'm in their presence.
It is a really weird, inconvenient rule for that magic to work.
Yes. That's how his ancestors have died. He had one great-great-grandfather that lived for like 758 years because he never fell in love. He never would let himself touch anyone. And then finally he fell in love. He gave in and touched his wife. And then he became mortal and someone knew it and fucking killed him. Same thing. That's what happened to his dad. His dad was 300 years old, by the way, when he died.
Okay.
His dad fell in love with his mom, decided, I want to touch her. And someone knew that this curse, because not a lot of people know about this curse.
Yeah.
But someone knew about this curse, knew that his dad touched his mom, and killed both of them for it.
So.
Yes.
Let me just.
Yes. Ask your questions.
Because this is the only part I'm
Ask
actually
your
interested
questions.
in this book.
Okay.
Is the magic.
Yes.
So.
Yep.
If he touches someone, then he can't be a shadow in their presence.
If within their presence, which means he's mortal. And
when they're around.
Yep.
But so if he like touched her per se, let's say, hypothetically.
Yes.
And they
without gloves on,
full frontal.
Yeah.
Touch.
Okay.
And they make love, whatever, or they just touch.
Uh-huh.
And then he sends her away.
This comes later in
kills her.
No, killing won't do anything about it.
What?
Killing her won't help. At
Why?
least
then I'd never be in her presence again.
Well, it doesn't touch on that
she's
in the
dead.
book, but I'm assuming. Yeah.
Because you know what this sounds like?
Yeah, I guess you could kill her.
This whole thing sounds like a recipe for a dead sex worker.
No shit.
They
don't touch on that in the book at all, but you're right. If she was dead.
He'd be like, once a year I go to like a very remote tower.
Mm-hmm.
We bring the finest wench in the village.
Uh-huh.
And she doesn't come back. Gotta tell you that one.
That's some scary shit. Also, this comes on later in the book, but I'll just tell you now. He's like got a 50-yard radius. So if
he can't be within 50 yards of her.
Which is quite a big radius.
Honestly, that kind of sounds like a really good marriage to me, but...
Yeah, but if you've got someone, say she's, 20 feet away, and this motherfucker right next to you wants to kill you, your shadows are not, they're stabbing you.
I'm just saying, we're never going to really be that close.
Yes.
Except for once, like, anniversaries and birthdays.
Yeah, or in bed at night if we want to do it.
Oh, no.
Every night.
Absolutely not.
You don't want to do it every night?
Well, no. What do you mean?
All right.
That means I'll die.
Not if you're in bed. You have your guards outside.
Huh. If I'm an assassin and I know the one fucking time that this dude's vulnerable is with this person.
Yeah, but you would have to know that curse exists. Most people don't even know that this curse exists.
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to let anybody find out. And if they do find out, I'm not trying to let them know that every single night you can catch me able to die.
I guess. For sure.
I'm just saying there's ways around this.
You're right, Paul. I love your creative mind.
I love magic.
So anyway, Alessandra's like, okay, I get why you won't let anyone fucking near you. I get why I can't touch you. I understand now. Thank you.
And I'm going to drop it and we'll never bring it up again.
Thank you for finally telling me. So anyway, they get out of the carriage. He's taken her to this picturesque lake. He's got a picnic planned for her. He's laying down a blanket. He's bringing food out. They're talking. He's talking about his mother. She's talking about her mother. They're just bonding.
Mom issues.
Yes.
Okay.
Mom issues. Hers died when she was young and his died, and they're bonding over their dead moms. And then he's like, after a while, he's like, let's go skinny dipping. So you said, does anyone get naked? Well, they technically get naked because they go skinny dipping. But he's like, turns around and she's like, why are you turning around? And he's like, because I'm your friend. I should be looking at you naked like that. He's like, we're just fake courting, you know? Like, we're working on our friendship. We're becoming friendly, like, blah, blah, blah. He's a pussy, Paul.
Yeah, for real, dude. I'm just like, whatever, bro. Especially if she's, like, offering. She's like, get a look.
So she, like, wades into the water, and he's like, now you turn around. And she's like, fine. And then he gets in the water. Now they're naked. It's, like, very murky.
Are they going to touch on accident?
That's true, but she's keeping a safe distance.
Yeah, I would be like,
she's like, I don't want to touch
away
him.
From
she's
me.
like, because now I know that he'll die. Like, I can't have him die on me, you know, so she's worried about it. So they're in the water now, and they're like, she just blurts it out. She's just like, are you a virgin? And he's like, hold on. I know that. I know. He's like, no, I'm not a virgin. I've been with many women before I became king, because you don't you don't get the shadows until you're
king.
You inherit
it's like passes with the
exactly.
throne.
So,
but it couldn't pass to someone that's not in their bloodline. Like, he couldn't pass it to her if he was like, I'm dying and you're going to be queen now. Here's the shadow.
Yes.
Then the son would get it, not her.
Mm-hmm.
I want it.
Me too.
I want it.
For sure. So, because it gives you the choice to be mortal or not, which I like. Because it's like,
if
I want to be immortal, then I'll be immortal for a couple hundred years. But if I'm over it, then I'll just touch someone.
But so, like, when you touch them, you become mortal forever, or just, like, in their presence?
In their presence. And then if you start to just, like, touch everybody, your shadows, you can't call on your shadows ever.
Well, yeah, but I would touch one person. And then I would just be like, yeah, I really like you, so I'm going to touch you, and I'm going to be really careful for the next lifetime. Yeah. And then once you're dead in the ground,
I'll have my shadows.
I'm back to it.
Exactly.
All the time.
Yeah. Just hope I don't get killed.
I won't get killed.
Exactly. He's like, are you a virgin? And she's like, should I tell him? And she goes, no, I'm not a virgin. He's like, oh, cool. And
sweet. Sweet.
And she goes, you don't care? And he's like, no, I don't care. And she's like, well, I thought women were supposed to stay virgins until they got married. And he was like, I don't believe in that shit. And that's rules that I'm going to be changing while I rule the kingdom. It's like the one redeeming quality he has.
Is that he thinks that people should have sex before marriage.
No, he thinks that women should have more rights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
He's like, my mother taught me these things, and I'm going to change them about the kingdom. It's the one redeeming quality.
That's nice that his kingdom is better to women than America is.
And then he's like, tell me about your first. And she's like, his name was Hector. And I was in love with him.
And I was his last.
Yep. She was like, but I lost him. And he's like, I've never been in love. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
so they're just like talking about sex and love. And she's like looking at him and he's looking at her. And there's like sparkles a little bit and like whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Then behind them on the bank over at their picnic, a cloaked figure comes by wearing a brown mask.
Robin Hood.
It's Robin Hood.
It's Robin Hood.
And
so
Robin Hood's like,
the king.
Robin Hood's looking at all the food and he's like, it's such a shame to be wasting all this food. I'm sure you guys are full. I'll be taking this food to your, peasants in your kingdom, while his majesty continues to spend money on troops conquering other lands. And Callias is like, fucking stop right there.
Stop taking my shit.
Stop, you bandit.
Stop giving to the poor, you asshole.
He's like, guards, what the fuck? How did you let him buy whatever,
But it's Leonidas or whatever that guy's name is.
Leonidas. Anyway, so like they get out of the water, they get dressed, and one guard is like, well, how did you expect me to not be distracted? She's naked, and looks at
I would say, my bad. Oh, oops, sorry.
Oops, jiggling your tits.
Yeah, uh-oh.
And
I just have that effect on men.
I'm flattered.
So sorry. That happens to me all the time.
And Callias stabs him and kills him.
He's like not that chill.
He's not that chill.
He gives like tiny dick energy too.
For sure.
You know,
he doesn't want.
I'm scared all the time, and if you upset me, I'll kill you.
So he's like, we got to get back to the palace now. They get in the carriage, and he's like beside himself. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have killed that person in front of you. I shouldn't have seen me do that.
So sorry. I just slipped my mind. I killed that guy right in front of you. This dude's nuts.
They like race back into the palace, and they're like wet and half clothed, so people are like guffawing at them, and they run into the council, and he's like, hello, fucking get on it, we were just robbed. And they're like, the coins are ready, like we're ready to set the trap. The next day in the gossip room, the women are abuzz. They're like, oh my god, we heard you came in states of undress and soaking wet.
Yeah.
And she is like, yeah, we actually had a really fun date, and like it was really fun, and the king told me that he doesn't think women should be virgins when they get married. And the one friend is like, I'm not a virgin.
Slut, whore, get her.
So they're just like talking, whatever. The next day, he surprises her for breakfast, and he's like in a giddy mood.
Eggs in a basket.
It's probably.
That's my favorite.
I bet you it is eggs in a basket. And he surprises her in her room unannounced, and she
because he could just walk in.
And does. And she's in a nightgown that she made that has like cutouts, like so it shows like side of your body. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, can't stop looking at her. He's like, do you want to put a robe on? And she's like, no, I don't want to put a robe on.
But you still want to live forever?
Right.
You trying to die?
Oh, totally. You trying to die?
You trying to die?
And so they have breakfast together. Then he's like, I'm all giddy because the plan for the bandit is working. And he's like, you know, you've just been so helpful. You talked to me about the other issues that I'm having. Like, I'm liking having you around. I think you're my good luck charm or whatever. At that moment, a maid walks in and she's like, a letter for you, my lady. And he's like, read it. And she's like, no, it's okay. He's like, read
you're
it.
under arrest for the murder of Hector.
And he's like, she's reading it. And he's like, what's wrong? And it's from Hector's dad that's like, we've been trying to get a hold of you, me and the constable, and we request your presence at our home. And if you don't come here, we'll come to you in the palace.
I'm like, you got a crazy tone that you're taking with me when I'm courting the king right now.
I would be wielding that.
Yeah, I would hand that to him. I'd be like, I'm going to need
power.
you to take care of this before I tell everyone about this little curse of yours.
Yeah. Is it wielding or yielding that power?
Wielding.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
So
I might cut that out to save you some.
Well, I told you I don't know sayings.
Oh, well, I cut them out to make you look better.
Oh, cool.
I'm your friend.
Love that. Thank you. So he goes, what's the deal? And she's like, well, he just makes me uncomfortable. You know, that's Hector's father. And she's like, say less. If he makes you feel uncomfortable, you don't need to go see him. And if he tries to come here, we will not let him in. And she's like, thank you. So he keeps ogling her at lunches and dinners and stuff. And one night he's staring at her and she goes, I thought you said that I wasn't beautiful enough to tempt you. And he's like, I lied. You're the most stunning thing to ever step foot in this palace.
And I'd say, got him.
Heyo. He goes, I want to keep you all to myself, so no more seeing Leandros.
I would say then you're going to have to put a ring on it.
Step it up just a little bit more, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm going to need some security in the sense that I get to be the fucking queen.
Like, I know we'd had like 2 dates and like some more breakfasts, but come on.
Well, come on, you can't tell me not to hang out with people.
For sure. So she is going to go into his mother's gardens the next day. They're supposed to be luscious and beautiful, and she's going to draw inspiration for a new gown she wants to design.
Okay. And
as she's walking there, Leandros is at the gate, and he's like, oh, I see you're sketching. You need a model? I could be a nude model for you. And she's like,
yeah, let's do it.
No. She's like, hey, listen, I'm courting the king. I know we have fun together, and you make me laugh, and I like you, but like, let's we forget. I'm with the king.
Yeah, I'm with the king, and you're just like a noble person, and you get me nowhere.
And he goes, I know, whatever. That's fine.
He's definitely Robin Hood.
He goes, I just want you to know he will leave you, and when he leaves you, I will be here for you.
Yeah, and I'm fine being second pick, baby.
Excuse me.
Ooh, you hear that crispy burp?
Sorry, dude.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. I don't care. So anyway, he scoots off and she goes and sits on a bench and starts sketching, and Callias joins her. And they're just like looking at each other longingly, and he's talking about his mother's gardens and her favorite rose and all this stuff. And he's like, you're such a good sketcher. You make such good clothes, blah, blah, blah. And she reaches and she like touches his forehead and puts hair behind his ear.
Okay.
With a gloved hand. But it is the first time they've touched. So he's sitting there and he's like staring at her. She's like, oh my God, are we going to kiss? And then boom, he gets shot by a gun. and falls backwards. And she's like, what? And she looks over and there's like a man in crazy clothes holding a gun. And she's like, oh my fucking God. And he's back there and she's like, he's dead. He's got to be fucking dead. And she takes her dagger and she stabs the guy in the leg.
Yeah.
And he's like, get the fuck off me. I've got to see if he's dead. If he's not, I'm going to finish the job. Blah, 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 blah.
Don't they know, though?
Callias stands up and she can hear like the bullet come out of him or whatever. And he grabs his sword and he's dueling the assassin. And the assassin, like, somehow Callias loses his footing. The assassin starts to run off. And so he grabs her dagger and throws it at him. And it hits him square in the back. And Callias is like, oh my God, are you okay? To Alessandra, because she got backhanded. So she's sitting in the grass after she stabbed the guy. And he's like inspecting her body. He's like, oh my God.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Well, his gloves. He's still got gloves on.
Still.
Yeah. They're long.
They need to be long. They need to be layers. He needs to have like a full cat suit on under too.
He's like, we got to go back to the palace. So they walk back to the palace and he's like, did you notice anything about the killer? She's like, yeah, he was wearing this certain type of clothing that associates with a certain region, but his accent wasn't that region. So it feels like they're trying to trick you. And he's like, I noticed that too. He's like, this has got to be an inside job.
Just like my parents.
Mm-hmm. He brings her to the queen's rooms. She's never been there before. It's amazing. It's magnificent. Obviously, it was his mother's room as well. And he was like, you're going to move in here now.
Because it's safer.
It's safer. And my room is adjoining. So we're now going to live in here together. I have the male chambers. You have the female chambers.
I would say not until I see a fucking ring on my finger, dude.
Serious.
You gotta marry me, make me queen before I move in. Are you kidding me? You're not getting this milk for free. Jesus.
God, yes, for sure. That night she's like shaken up still. She's like, I can't sleep. So she goes and like knocks on his door and he comes in and he like lays in the bed and they fall asleep.
Parallel play.
Parallel play.
That's what I would do. So let's put a body pillow between us.
For sure. And that's what I was picturing as I was reading it because I had to make smut up because there was no smut at all. So I had to like make it up easily. That's what I was like, pillow in the middle. Hello.
And then we're just both putting on a show.
Putting on a show. But she falls asleep with her fingers intertwined with his on his chest. Gloved, obviously.
Gloved. This is just the whole book is just a metaphor for safe sex.
It really is.
And the dangers of barebacking.
So Vasco corners her again and is like, why are you spending so much time with my nephew, Leandros, if you're supposed to be courting the king and now you've moved into the queen's quarters? And he's like, don't forget, Callias needs an heir. He's just like pressuring her, just like saying shit to her.
We can't do little IVF? Little old school turkey baster?
Yeah, I bet you could do that.
Yeah, just keep trying.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Does his cum also have shadow?
That would be crazy.
It just phases right through her. It can't keep it in.
It just wisps
drips right
away.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry, I'm trying.
Gone the second it comes out. That's funny. Okay, so he tells her she can throw a magical ball,
but not
and wear
real
her
magic.
New gown. Yeah, but not real magic. And so she starts to work on that. Anyway, now it's time to get rid of Ruben's fiance.
Oh, wow.
Melita.
We're coming back.
I
forgot about it.
Uh-huh, exactly. So Melita, his fiance, is in love with...
My Melita.
Yes. She's in love with a man named Oren, who was in love with Alessandra and wanted to marry her. And she shot him down. She's like, I'm with the fucking king. Sorry, dude. Get over it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you got to have status to get with her.
Uh-huh. So anyway, but she knows that Melita is in love with Oren. So I'm going to make a really long story short because it's really not important. She devises a plan for Melita to be in her bedroom at like 9 p.m. She sets up Oren to be outside of the bedroom at 9 p.m. She's planted a fake love note from Oren in Melita's bedroom that's like, I've loved you forever.
Yes.
Leave Ruben. I'll meet you at your room at 9 p.m. And so Melita opens her door. Oren's there and she's like, I knew you loved me, hugs him and kisses him. And Alessandra was able to stage Ruben and Ruben's father there so Ruben's father could witness the kiss.
Ah, okay.
Uh-huh.
I thought she was going to kill her.
Nope. And so Ruben's father is like, Oren, you can't marry my son anymore. You can't get our inheritance. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Anyway, in order to get that love letter in Melita's room, Alessandra had to sneak into Oren's room to get his seal seal the love letter. While she was doing that, she snooped through Oren's room and found
he's the killer.
The bandit's outfit.
Oh.
Oren has always been a bleeding heart, talking about, I helped the orphanages this weekend. I did this. I did that.
Performative philanthropy.
And so he's been stealing from the nobles and giving that wealth to the commoners.
I'm not telling anybody.
So after she broke up Reuben and Melita's, engagement, she went straight to Callias and was like, Callias, Oren is the fucking bandit.
Oh my God.
Well, they wanted to catch the bandit.
Yeah, but what does she care if the rich are getting less rich and the poor have food?
Because they're both pieces of shit. Dude, that's the whole thing. I'm like, I'm reading this book and I'm like, are you supposed to be a piece of shit? Because like, it's good for your peasants.
Yeah.
But they're
he
elitists.
took your leftovers and gave them to poor people, you bitch. Like, what do you mean?
And so Callias was like, shut up. For real.
Piping hot tea,
straight
diva.
To jail and
straight to jail.
Literally locked up Oren that night and was like, he will be in prison for the rest of his life.
This is a book about bad guys.
I guess it is, dude. So everything went off without a hitch. Reuben no longer has to marry that bitch. Oren's now in prison. The bandit is now done for.
I was rooting for the bandit.
Yeah, not in here. You were. Yeah. Okay, so then after all that goes down, we're moving on to the next problem. She gets a letter that's like, I know who's trying to kill your boyfriend, the king, and I want you to meet me at this address in 2 days' time, and I will help you figure it out. And she shows Callias the note, and he's like, we're going together, and we're going to go in disguise, and we're going to go to this address, and we're going to figure out who it is. By the way, the person is like, wear a flower in your hair, so I know it's you. And so 2 days later, they've got disguises on, wigs. He's put a fake beard on.
Okay.
They're wearing peasant clothes. The address is the address to a brothel.
Oh my God.
So they
salacious.
Salacious, if you could believe it. A gentleman's club.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. So he's decided he's going to go, and he's going to go in disguise, and he's not going to have his shadows up. And she's like, no, you can't do that. What if you get killed? What if you get stabbed?
Or you bump into someone.
Well, he does wear gloves.
I don't care, man.
I know.
Like, you never had your sleeve right up
for
before
sure,
in your life?
Sure.
Like, what is this?
It's risky, dude. It's super risky. So she sneaks in through the kitchen.
They're going to accidentally touch.
She sneaks in through the kitchen. She sees this like little 10-year-old girl working back there. They've got like slave labor back there.
Okay, this book is fucking horrifying.
It's crazy, dude. And she is like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm the new girl. And the girl's like, yeah, just walking in. And then she sees like the owner of the brothel, the madam.
Mm-hmm.
And the madam's like, I didn't fucking hire you. And she's like, I know, but I figured if I just showed up for the job.
With these girls.
Yes. And she's like, well, you're lucky I had someone quit tonight, so you can step in.
Yeah.
So she's in there. Callias is in there. Meanwhile, she's been going in the back. Callias went in the front and found a random girl and put a flower in her hair so that...
They really don't give a fuck about nobody, dude. They're like, people are tools to get me where I need to go.
Yes.
Like...
It's very true. He's like, we're just going to sit back and watch and see who approaches her and talks to her.
I know this person's life will be in danger, so I better make it not me.
So he like sits at a table, all these men are gambling, and she like comes and sits on his lap, pretends to be like that's like excited to,
Yeah, she's getting her John.
Meanwhile, she's like sitting on his lap and like wriggling around a little bit, and he's like playing with her hair and like all this stuff.
This is the riskiest thing I've ever heard.
Super risky. Then he's like, all right, I'm done gambling. Let's move to a more private area. And they move her to this private area. And I'm going to read you one part of this. Because this is where any ounce of heat.
This book is over.
Yeah, we're almost over. It's almost, I told you shit moved fast.
Yeah.
She asks, she's like, because some woman bumped into them at the table. She's like, did you touch me? And she's all freaked out. And he's like, no, I can still bring up my shadows. He like puts his hand under the table and shows her. Anyway. So they go off to a partitioned off area where cushioned seats line the wall, and he gently sets me down before sitting beside me, our legs just touching. I'd hoped to blend into the room, but it's too hard to watch our girl, he says. We have a better vantage point over here. Well, we can't just sit here. We stand out too much. You don't take a whore to the cushions just to talk to her, Alessandra says. He reaches down, grabs my legs, and throws them over his lap. One hand goes under my skirts to trace my calves. But she's wearing, like, bloomers or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, is this more convincing? I swallow. Yes. As I sit there with my legs in the lap of the king, one thing becomes abundantly clear. I can't believe how much I want him to touch me. I want to rip off those cursed gloves and burn them in a fire, bury the ashes in a hole deeper than the one I buried Hector in.
Well, yeah.
So she's like,
well, if you tell me I can't,
I'm getting horned up.
Yeah.
It's
the
so
forbidden
funny.
fruit.
Paula's funny. Even at one point in this book, she tells Vasco, she's like, you tell me not to do something, I want to do it 10 times fucking harder.
That's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't want to fuck the king if he was just the king. But since it's a whole thing,
It is.
then I really want him to touch me.
For sure. Then, boom, they get knocked into.
Oh,
they
no.
land on the floor.
Oh,
He's on
no.
top of her.
Oh, no.
He's like, what?
Face touching.
It feels like, they're like really close. And we're like, okay, did they touch? Did they touch? It's like chaos for a moment. Food's flying, drinks are flying. And then all of a sudden he gets pushed down again. He gets up and he like looks at her and he's like, I can't call on my shadows. And she's like, fuck. So they're like, let's get the fuck out of here. So they run out. They get outside. They keep running. They get to their horses. And he's like, let me try and call up my shadows to see if it was us.
Yeah.
And he gets next to her. He can call his shadows still. So
But that
wasn't
means
her.
some other
Someone
fucking
in
rando
there.
is now just a phantom gonna kill you. Whatever, they did that on purpose. They knew they did it on purpose.
Yes,
this was
they
a
did.
setup.
Yep. So he goes, I'm fucking dead. I'm going to be dead within a week.
Yeah.
And she goes,
no doubt.
Don't fucking say that. Don't say you're going to die. You can't
No
die.
doubt, Dad. Dad.
She goes, I refuse to lose my best friend. You're not going to die. We're going to figure this out. We're going to have guards with us 24/7.
If you're gonna die, then
blah,
we
blah,
should
blah.
just bang.
So they get back to their rooms now that they're sharing that adjoining room.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're playing a very dangerous game here.
Sorry.
And then just stares at her mouth.
Don't look at my mouth. I hate when people look at my mouth.
He's like, we're playing a very dangerous game here. It goes from eyes to mouth and stares at her mouth and then stares back at her eyes and then just turns around. And she's like, oh my God, that was so hot.
If I had built this castle and I was the king that had all these problems, you bet your ass those bedrooms would be fucking 50 feet apart or whatever.
Oh, for sure.
Measured to it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you can't get
Measured to it.
This door's closed. That's how far away that is.
Yeah.
Plus 1 foot.
Plus 1 foot.
Plus 1 foot. I'm
maybe
not stupid.
Maybe
yeah,
two.
maybe 2.
Shit. So as he turns around and leaves, she's like, whoa, tonight was crazy. I've been getting closer to the king. We're sharing all these moments. I'm losing sight here. I'm supposed to kill him. I can't have
Well,
these
you basically
feelings.
just did.
Well, whatever. He went willingly. So she's like, God, I got to brush this off. I got to get my mind straight. So the next day she goes to the healer's like pharmacy, whatever, and she steals some poison. And she's like, I'm just going to keep this away. She puts it deep in her wardrobe. She's like, if I find an opportunity to kill him, whatever. She's like, I don't want to kill him, but I have to if I want to take up. She's just conflicted.
You're not married yet.
Exactly. But she's like, I just want to have this here so that if.
And he's immortal,
No.
I thought, with the shadows.
Oh, well, yes. But she's like, if we do end up having sex, she's like, because we're getting close here, man.
Yeah, so we might
he's caressing
touch.
My leg. He's like, yeah, she was like, so I want this here if the opportunity should arise.
Then I'll poison his eggs.
So time is passing. During like lunches and dinners and stuff, still in the palace, still with all the noble people, he has his shadows.
Yeah.
So he wasn't touched by anyone on his council. He wasn't touched by anyone in the castle.
I guess you would just shadow up so hard all the time.
Oh, he's
like
not
you
letting them down.
Always do anyway, I guess.
He does, yeah.
And then just the second they go down, surround me by guards. Unless it's one of the guards.
Yeah, so we're just like, okay, who the fuck touched this guy? Then we get Leandros catching her in the hall. And he goes, could we perhaps talk in your rooms? And she's like, we're alone. We can talk out here. We don't need to go in my rooms. He goes, I received an invitation to your ball. I'm quite eager to attend. I thought to ask what you were wearing so we would match. She's like, we can't match.
Yeah, you
I'm matching
dumb
with my king.
He's definitely the assassin.
And she goes, he goes, I'm besotted with you, though.
I don't know what that means.
In love with.
Okay.
She's like, Leandros. And he goes, no, let me finish, Alessandra. I know I joke quite a bit, but let me assure you I'm very serious right now. I am besotted with you, and I don't want to be an afterthought. I don't want to be who you turn to when Callias casts you aside. I want to be your first choice. And maybe I've never made it clear that I am a choice for you. And then he goes on and on and on and confessing his love. And eventually he's like, I tend to hide myself behind humor, but not this time, not with you. I'm interested. You're the only woman at court who interests me, and I would make you mine if you also wanted me. I don't expect you to answer now. I've had weeks to think this through, and you haven't had even a minute, but I do want you to think on it. She's just like, no. And he looks at her and he goes, he's never going to love you.
And I'm never going to love you.
And then he goes, he's never going to marry you or touch you or be with you in the ways that you deserve. What do you plan? What do you plan to live a half-life with him for the rest of your life? And she's just like, God, is that what I'm planning? Like, am I okay with living a half-life?
That's none of your business what I'm going to do.
For sure. But she's shocked that she's actually considering that. Because normally she'd be like, fuck no, I'm going to be fucking on the side. But she's saying, I'm not going to be fucking on the side.
Oh, because I'm like, this is a really good arrangement.
I know, but she's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm cool with being never having
Just
sex again. I'm like,
his.
what? Anyway, so then Leandros is like, are you in love with him? And she looks at him and she goes, I don't know.
I'm something.
And then she thinks out of the corner of her eyes, she sees shadows going around the corner. She's like, oh my God, did Callias just hear all of that? Did he hear Leandros profess his love, and then I kind of profess my love, or at least I said I might love him?
Yeah.
Anyway, later that night at dinner, she gets to Callias and he in the library, and he's had several glasses of wine. He's sitting in front of the fire instead of at the dinner table, and kind of like murmuring to himself. And he's like, the bandit situation has been taken care of. Oren's going to be imprisoned. Everything's great. But when we went to round up the peasants who took stolen money, shit went sideways and a lot of the peasants ended up dead.
This piece of shit, dude. This police state he's running.
This police state. And so he like stands up and he's like, oh God, maybe I'm drunker than I thought I was. And she's like, let's get you to bed. And so she takes him to their chambers. He gets a little loose. He's like, you're mad at me. Remember when you did that with Kit Taylor?
No.
You're mad at me.
No, I would never. I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyway, she goes, Callias, I'm not mad at you. He goes, you should be mad at me for other reasons. What reasons? He goes, I saw you with Leandros. He offered you happiness and you refused him because I'm forcing you to go through this ruse, courting me. I should release you from this. And she goes, I smile, but you won't. He goes, I can't. I need you too much. His eyes shoot back open, then his arm swings out before it catches my gloved hand and brings it toward his mouth, but stops before he makes contact. He looks down at my glove as though it offends him. Then he's sliding the garment off. I hold perfectly still.
Oh my God.
He kissed you here because Leandros kissed her hand.
Yeah.
When he left, he was like, I'm going to kiss the back of your hand. He goes, he kissed you here.
Clean it off.
He still has his glove on, but he took her glove off.
Yeah.
So he's touching her.
I don't like this.
And then she goes, yes, he did. And he goes, I don't want him doing that. I want to do that.
I don't like this. He's going to do it.
He lowers his lips, but I jerk back my hand violently before he can make contact. You're not allowed to do that until you're sober, I tell him. Nonsense.
Yeah.
Give that back. He reaches for her hand.
Oh my God.
Go to sleep, Your Majesty. I push against his shoulder and he falls back onto his pillows. I step toward my room, taking one last look at my king. I didn't tell Leandros no because of some deal I have with you. I told him no because it would take me away from you. Satisfied that he's too asleep to remember any of this, I shut the door.
Oh, listen, you turn that page.
So the next morning, he's like, oh God, I have a headache, whatever. And then he's like, I had something commissioned for you. We're not having breakfast alone this morning. Let's go into the dining hall. They get into the dining hall. He's had this huge oak table with 2 thrones commissioned at the head of the table.
Is this a proposal?
One for him, one for her. She goes, Jesus, you might as well have proposed in front of everybody. And he goes, actually, I want to talk about that later. And she's like, what?
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. So later comes like immediately later, like the next scene.
Well, later can mean a lot of things.
So he takes her into like a private room and he's like, confesses his love. He goes, I want you by my side helping me make decisions for the kingdom. I want you to help me conquer the last 3 kingdoms in the vast world. Nope. I want you to be my equal, Alessandra, my queen. You would have power, a guard of your own. We would talk before making decisions. We would get the council off my back once and for all, and you'd be free from your family. You'd of course have access to the treasury and the king's funds.
Okay, but we are going to have to talk about Hector. I'm going to need a pardon.
She goes, you want me to be your queen, but in name only. Is that right? He hesitates. He's like, that's right. We would be married, so it would be official, but you'll keep your quarters and I'll keep mine. No one would ever know that we don't consummate the marriage. Very few know the reason why I can't touch people. Most people won't be able to tell if we're intimate or not. This is it. This is everything I've ever wanted. He's offering me the world. He's just not offering me himself. When did I start to want that?
Ugh, chicks, man.
Chicks, man. But immediately, there's a knock on the door. And he turns around.
And then his shadows are gone.
And it's the constable and Hector.
Well, let's just handle this right here. Dead.
Yep. Well, it's like a maid that's like, hey, these people are trying to get in.
Yeah.
And it ended up being the
cops
constable.
are here.
Yep. So she's like, oh shit, they're here. So they come in. And in front of Callias, the constable basically says, I've got evidence that supports that you killed Hector 3 years ago. And she's like, what? What evidence?
Who?
Who? And the constable's like, well, he's nothing but bones in a trunk right now, but we have a stab wound on ribs. We have a nick. We know that you've carried this dagger. The trunk also,
medieval CSI.
Get
out of here.
Sure. She's like, the trunk also has Alessandro Stathos. A.S., not the full name.
Oh, because like
it says
bitch.
A.S. initials on the trunk. There's like a mudslide and this fucking
Oh,
trunk
yeah, they have a
came out.
mudslide in hell. Jesus.
Yeah.
I knew she didn't do good.
So she's like, fuck. And Callias is like looking at her like, what is going on? And he's like, okay, you guys, I'll handle the investigation from here.
Yeah, both dead. Off your heads.
Get out of here. The constable leaves, Hector's dad leaves, and this is from Alessandra's head. She's like, Callias is going to explode on me at any moment. He'll have me thrown into prison until he decides on the proper day and manner for killing me.
Why, he kills people like every other breath.
Callias laughs so loudly and abruptly, I nearly topple out of my armchair. You killed him. He throws his head back and laughs and laughs and laughs.
That's cute. That's actually cute. That's a cute reaction.
He goes, and she looks at him after a beat and she goes, and I have an inclination to kill again. If you don't stop
I'll
laughing
fucking kill
at
you,
me.
bitch. I'll touch you right now.
He goes, my little hellion, quite the force to be
Oh my
reckoned
god, he's
with.
so in love with her now.
Quite the force to be reckoned with, aren't you? Oh, please say you'll marry me, Alessandra.
Yeah.
I swallow, thoroughly confused. You're not going to hang me? Hang me, he repeats. The man did you wrong, Alessandra. Honestly, you've saved me the trouble of tracking him down and killing myself.
I was going to say, girl, this dude has made it so abundantly clear that he handles all of his problems by killing someone, like first. So
Yeah.
why would he not be turned on by that?
Yeah, Orin didn't even get a trial for the bandit situation. He's just like, he's locked in the dungeon forever.
I feel for him.
For sure.
I feel bad for him. It's hard to be the good person and all the bad people.
No kidding. And he was like kind of sweet.
Yeah, I bet he was hot too.
Probably, who knows?
It's hot in my head.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
That's all
is that
that
he's hot in your
matters.
head,
Yeah.
Paul. Anyway, the man did you wrong. You saved me from tracking him down and killing myself. I pardon you, he says simply. She goes, just like that? Just like that. Anything for my best friend. Will you marry me? He repeats. What will happen if I say no? You're still pardoned, and if that's what you're worried about, I would never blackmail you into marriage. You'll be free to remain at the palace as long as you wish, or you can go. But I would be most saddened if you left. I need you, Alessandra. Say you'll be mine and I'll be yours. He needs me, but he doesn't want me. He's giving me power. Everything I could ever want.
Chicks, dude. Are you kidding me? He needs me, but he doesn't want me. Would you still love me if I was a worm?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
get out of here.
Totally. But I told you, doesn't the end pick up just a little
Oh,
bit?
this is definitely picked up.
The end is just a little more
100%
entertaining.
picked up. It's like way more entertaining.
The first
I could give a
70% of the
fuck
book
about most
sucked,
of this.
but the last 30% is
This
fun.
is funny. It's like cheeky now.
It is. And then
I wish they
goes-
had this attitude the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, she did, but it just
She
wasn't
did, but
interesting.
he was just like, yeah,
He
it
was
just
a wet
like wasn't
blanket. He
interesting.
wasn't around.
He wasn't cool. Nothing was really happening.
It was more her of Leandros, Ruben, and Petros and her two girlfriends.
And I
like
could
the
give a
first
fuck.
60 for, yeah. And I couldn't either. They were boring. Anyway, she goes, finally, I say, I want a proper proposal, a public one.
Yeah.
Good for you, girl.
Even though,
So, but
a
also,
public proposal.
well, yeah,
I
are we going
would
to Jumbotron it?
literally never. I'd say no.
Yeah, I'd say no,
Don't
too.
give me the opportunity.
Dude,
you want to do it in front of an audience? I'm gonna say no.
no.
Even if I mean yes,
Dude,
I'm gonna say no.
There was a girl at an NFL game where he took
And
her
I would
down
say
on
no.
the field, and she said no.
You got stuff.
I would.
I would.
Well, especially
Just for
if
the
you
bit.
don't want to marry.
Oh,
that
and
guy.
especially if you don't want to. But the bit's funny.
For sure. But then after you're like, I'm kidding. Yes.
Oh.
But what if he's like, fuck you, bitch.
Exactly.
You can't say
That
yes.
the bit better be worth, you know,
That's a
because
risk.
unless they are cool as fuck.
Right. And you're like, I'm just kidding, dude. It's a yes.
Yeah,
He's like,
well,
"Wait."
because I wouldn't say that until
Oh,
we're
like the next day.
off the field. Yeah, you know.
No audience
Yeah,
at all.
next month I'll send a letter.
Yep. Actually, I was kidding.
Just kidding. I can't wait to marry you. Love of my life, my best friend, my soulmate.
That's funny. Okay, so then now she's like, has a thought. She's like, fuck, my ball is in a couple days. That is the most public arena. He's gonna get killed that night.
Well, Homeboy's not allowed to stuff now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
For
I'm like,
sure.
it really sucks that
'Cause we
one
don't
night
know
at
who
the
touched you.
brothel happened because now you don't get to go to stuff.
For sure, because
When there's big groups of people, you have to go upstairs
Yes.
and stay.
Because Paul, if they knew who touched him, they could just kill him.
And I would.
Exactly.
And they would.
But now that they don't know, they're like
Yeah.
constantly looking over their shoulder.
Well, I mean, if I put my head in the place of a truly bad villain king, which is obviously hard for me, what I would do is I would have every fucking person rounded up, and then they would come in arms shackled one by one past me.
Like Cinderella trying on the shoe
Yeah,
style.
but it would just be trying on the shadows. I'd be like, all right, here's fucking 50 yards or whatever from me.
Yep.
I'm going to stand right here and let's go. And the second they get found, I don't care. Oh, it's a mother of 14. Dead. Little girl, dead. Sorry.
Dude, that's such a good idea. I would do the same thing.
But it's hard for me to think that way because
I know.
I'm so noble.
Well, you're not diabolical at all. You're not even diabolical in the slightest.
No, you're right.
Yeah, so you would never...
I don't really like think that way. Manipulative? No.
Okay, so they're freaking out a little bit. You know, they're worried. Night of the ball. She looks gorgeous. He looks gorgeous. She's made this crazy gown to where she looks like a rose with different colors. He's planning on publicly proposing that night. But when she gets there, they announce Lady Alessandra, whatever. Everyone scatters from her. She like goes to like the refreshment table. Everyone scatters. Like no one's talking to her. She's like, what the fuck? So then her dad shows up and she's like, you weren't invited. And he's like, well, I came anyway. And I'm here to rescue you, take you away. You know what your rumors are and what your reputation is now. You're a murderer. Everyone knows you killed Hector and he pardoned you.
Oh, no big deal.
Right?
What?
She's like, you know what, Dad? I gotta tell you something.
Is it a crime to be a badass bitch in this kingdom?
Is it a crime to kill someone
guilty?
Yeah, I mean, he broke my heart. Is that a crime to kill him?
Yeah.
If he broke my heart, I don't think so.
I don't think so. Don't break my heart.
Right, exactly. That's what she's saying.
Don't go breaking my heart.
For sure.
I'll kill you.
That's what she's saying. She's sending a message.
Yeah.
She looks at her dad and says, you know what? Fuck you. I don't need you. I'm going to be queen. He already proposed, but he's doing it publicly tonight. And guess what? You're not getting a dime from my treasury. You're going to go bankrupt. Yep. So she kicks him out, like very publicly. And now everyone's talking to her because they're like, she's scary.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not talking to me because I killed someone?
Oh, right.
You're giving me reasons.
You want to think about that?
Yeah, you want to think about that? I get a whole new court in here.
So, exactly. So that's what they're kind of thinking. So they're like, oh, okay. So the people start talking to her. Of course,
how awkward.
Of course, during that entire time, Leandros, Ruben, and Petros, they were talking to her. Sure. But it was just everyone else, you know?
That's her gaze.
Yeah, that's her gaze. She sees Leandros and, you know, they smile at each other.
That's going to be awkward.
Wave, and she's like, I think he's getting over me. Like, he's smiling at me at least.
I hope.
It's been a week or so, and he hadn't talked to her, but he's smiling. She's like, I think he's getting over it.
I hope so. You can never really trust him.
Yeah. Lady Zervas, whatever, is there.
The scorned lover
that she had met. Zervas or whatever. She was like, I'm surprised to be invited to this event. You know, I don't know why I would be invited here. But they have a nice moment, and she's like, listen, what happened with me and the king and the queen however many years ago, because, I mean, it was more than 19 years ago.
Yeah, it's water under the bridge. They're dead.
She's like, I think you're going to make a great queen to Alessandra.
And I love a scorned lover.
For sure.
So to me, I'm like, you probably love I killed my ex.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Finally, Callias, who's just been sitting on the throne all night, comes over and asks her to dance. And they're touching through gloves all night. And it's the first time the public has ever seen him touch a woman before.
Yeah, I would say, okay, I'm the queen.
For sure.
Get it together.
She is enamored with him.
Oh, yeah.
At this point.
Oh, her plan has fully backfired. It's fully Uno reversed her.
Yeah, she wooed herself to be in love with him.
Yeah. Been there.
So after the dance, they approach their thrones. He gets down on one knee. He proposes. It's a black rose ring because black roses were his mom's favorite thing, which I'm like, that's weird.
I don't want that. Stop thinking about your mom when you're looking at me.
And you're in your mom's rooms.
This is getting real Oedipus Rex, you know?
Yeah.
The
crowd erupts into joyous applause, and they're like, a toast to the new king and queen. So they sit in their things.
Shadow's gone. I'm waiting for the shadows to drop.
Yeah, Vasco's like, a toast to everybody. Everybody drinks, and as she drinks her wine, she looks over at him. His shadows have dropped.
Oh my God, slap the wine.
She goes, stop. But before she can, he's taken a sip of it.
Oh.
Yep. He's on the ground convulsing, foaming at the mouth.
This is the red wedding on Game of Thrones all over again.
And that
melted my brain.
For sure. That was a traumatic experience. Yeah. She's like, no. And so he's on the floor. She orders everyone. She's like, stay away. But Ruben and Petros and Leandros come over, and she's like, let them through.
Yeah, they're cleared.
And then, as everyone's walking away, she sees the little 10-year-old girl.
I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it was a little girl.
You did know it was a little girl.
Ooh.
The little 10-year-old girl from the brothel kitchen, she's running away with a drink tray. And she's like, I recognize that girl. So she's like, Leandros, Petros, Ruben, stay with him.
Someone needs to make him throw up.
For sure. She's like, Leandros is like, go get that girl. You need to get her. So she grabs the girl and fucking
kills her.
Runs. She's like, I've got to get this girl 50 yards away.
Yeah.
So she's outside fucking running on the gravel. Her feet are getting tore the fuck up. This little girl is crying, sobbing. The little girl is like, I'm so sorry. They asked me to touch him that night when you were there. I didn't know why they wanted me to touch him. And now I didn't even know he was the king. She's a 10-year-old girl is sobbing beside herself.
Oh, it sucks that she has to die.
But you're not diabolical.
Oh, I already snapped her neck. I wouldn't have heard this story.
And so she's like, who's they? Alessandra is saying that to the little girl.
And she goes, it's fucking Leo and your gays.
Surprise, surprise. It's Vasco, the hand.
I am surprised.
You were?
Well,
I wasn't.
Just because I haven't been thinking about him at all.
Well, I was like, it's going to be the most obvious person. I was like, it's obviously the hand.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
You
are right. It is always the hand.
Yeah. And she describes a woman who sounds like Zervos.
Yeah.
So outruns.
That makes sense. Why even mention them in the beginning if they weren't going to come back around?
Yeah. Outruns Leandros. He finds them. He's like, I'll take care of this girl. Go fucking get your husband. He's awake now. He's asking for you. He's not dead. Because his shadows came back up after she got him far enough away. Okay. So he didn't die. Caught it in time. If he had died, he would have died. But if you're not dead yet, your shadows
come up and you were like,
heal you.
You're back to immortal.
Uh-huh.
Dude, sucks for that little girl.
For sure.
She got to die or she needs to get shipped off to like
another
convent in an island far away.
Yeah, in the book, Alessandra says something. She's like, I'll deal with her. Can't deal with her right now, but we'll have to deal with this situation, is what they say.
Yeah.
So now we're almost at the end, Paul. We're almost at the end. So the hand and the lady are immediately banished to the dungeons.
Obviously, we don't do trials or investigations around here.
Nope, we don't.
You're pardoned. You're in the dungeons.
Yep, they're going to be charged with murdering his parents and trying to murder him.
Okay. Well, he finally figured out who killed his parents 2 years later. Mm-hmm.
Later, Alessandra and Callias.
How pissed would you be if you were one of the nobles that had to stay there for 2 years and you're just like, oh, cool.
Right.
I'm so glad that I put my entire life on pause.
Right, but I guess you don't do anything besides eat and drink and stand around all day. I mean, on the grounds, go fishing, go have tea by the creek.
So much.
Have a picnic, you know? You just like a 2-year vacation.
Actually, I guess like you're right. I would be like, can I stay though?
Dude.
Now that it's solved, can I still stay? Actually,
like there's servants.
Like what if I was still involved? I guess I should probably stay.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, like the whole thing.
That's probably true.
You know. Okay, so that night they're in their chambers, and he's like, "Your feet are all scratched up. I can't believe that. Oh my god, let me draw you a bath."
Oh.
Draws her a bath, sits her on the edge of the tub. I'm picturing an all copper tub.
Yep.
She's got her feet in the tub, and she's leaning against his chest, and he's like, "I can't do this anymore.
I'm touching you."
And he's like, undoes the hooks from her hair and like all this stuff and like picks her up by her arms and turns her around and kisses her on the mouth.
On the mouth?
Uh-huh. And she pulls away and she goes, "What did you do?" And he's like, I don't care. I don't care if I live to be 100, 300, 1,000, a millennia. I'm not living life in the shadows anymore. I want to love you in the open.
I mean, but like, you're going to die now.
People are not going to stop trying to kill him. That's for sure. You know, he is still the king. People are still going to want to try to usurp the king. Anyway, so that's what he says. You know, like I'm done. I don't care. I'm done waiting. I think life is not worth it. I choose to live however many years I can with you, and that's it. I love you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's sweet.
Mm-hmm. And then she's like, "Oh my god!" And they kiss. They make out. He carries her to the bed, and they make out all night. He doesn't even try to put his hands anywhere fun, quote unquote, from out. She's like, he was a perfect gentleman. He didn't try to take off my dress.
Excuse me?
My dress. He didn't put his hands anywhere fun. We just make out for hours and hours and hours and hours.
What?
I'm like,
this prude bitch.
I know. I'm like,
writing these books.
It's like he hasn't had sex in over a year.
Well, yeah, and just like they've been building up this whole time to finally be able to touch. I mean, I'm real stressed about the logistics now, but that's their fucking problem.
Mm-hmm. So the next morning, he's like, "That's it. we're tearing down this wall. I'm moving all your belongings in here. We're going to make one big great room.
Let's
more
not get
separate
ahead of
bedrooms.
ourselves. I
I
do
know
like
you
my
love-
space.
I was going to say, I know you love a 2-apartment situation.
I would love
and
that.
So do I.
Even like
goddammit.
the Jack and Jill like bathroom situation. I'd be like, yeah, we can share a bathroom, and like
Sure.
some nights you can come over and some nights you definitely can't.
For sure. Not him. He's like, I'm all in. You're my girl now.
Ugh.
I'm moving you in. We're
What are
tearing
they
this
gonna do when
wall
they
down.
break up?
Right? He's like, the servants will move everything.
Obviously.
Whatever. They go down to the dungeons to see Vasco
Mm-hmm.
and Zevros or whatever. And he's pissed at Vasco. He's like, why?
Yeah.
Why did you kill my parents? They fucking trusted you. Were my dad's best friend. Why? Why did this do it? Why did you do it? Vasco's just facing the wall, not facing him. Silent. And he's
Okay.
like, fucking speak.
Yeah.
Silent.
Well, yeah.
Talk.
I would be silent.
Silent. He closes the gate. He's like, fine, you can stay in here for 3 more days with no food or water or anything. We'll see if you talk. They go over to Zevros's thing. She is singing. She's in there singing. They're like, what the fuck? She's like, I'm not bothered by this. I didn't do this. Maybe you should look to people who are closer around you. And then looks at Alessandra like this. And Alessandra like, what the fuck? I didn't do anything.
Oh, but they're gonna find the poison in her room when they move all of her shit.
They go to breakfast, and because he's like, fine, whatever, I'll see you guys in a few days, suffer down here. They go to breakfast, and he's teasing her under the table. His hand is on her thigh.
He is crazy. I would not be like touching her that much.
Well, he's already kissed her. There's nothing you can do.
Well, yeah, I know, but I would just be like, okay, cool. Now, like, we can't really hang out in public.
He's not. Well, he thinks his killers have been. He's resigned to the fact. He's like, if I get killed, I get killed.
I
I'm
know,
not
but this is a
living in the
weird
shadows.
time
Anyway, for sure, Paul.
when people are so actively
You're
trying
so-
to kill you for you to decide to just like throw away
It's
your
a
protection.
little reckless.
Yeah, it's like give it a couple months.
At least go out of town for a couple months.
Yeah.
Get out of
Get
Dodge.
out of Dodge. Yeah.
Anyway, his hand is slowly going up her thigh, and she's like,
to a fun place.
and she's like, oh, I can't handle it. She gets up. She's like, excuse me, I'm going to my rooms now. And he follows her, and they go up to the rooms, and it's like halfway moved, not
Yeah.
all the way moved. And he's like, get out, to the servants. And then he pins her up against the wall and kisses her, and then she pins him up against the wall and kisses her.
Because he's such a tiny little twink.
And he's like, do you want to have sex? And she's like, yeah.
You want to do it?
And then they have sex. There's no sex scene at all. All we get is
Fade to black.
it just says the king was worth the wait. I'm sure he was.
The 90 seconds tops.
For real.
Are you kidding me?
2 pump chomp.
Yeah.
Dude. Anyway, later she's gossiping with the girls again, and he's been away. Someone comes in. Alessandra, you were ordered to appear in front of the king this instant. Yeah. She's brought to the library, thrown in. He's fucking livid, and he's got the poison.
Oh, I would have been like, about that. I was definitely going to try and kill you, and then I guess I fell in love with you.
Yeah. And she does say that.
That's exactly what I would say.
She's like crying. She's shaking because he's freaking out. He goes, you will address me as your majesty.
I was like, don't take that fucking tone with me.
Uh-huh. And she's like, okay, I'll tell you everything. This was my plan, to woo you, marry you, kill you. But then I fell in love with you.
Yeah, but then shit changed.
Right. And she's like, I love you. And he's like, get the fuck out. Don't ever talk to me again.
Ugh, done. Fine.
I know, right?
I'm ready.
And so he's like, you're gone by nightfall. She is sobbing beside herself because she's in love with this guy now. And he's like, fuck you. She gets to their chambers. Leandros runs in, and Leandros is like, what's happened? And she's sobbing. She's like on the floor. He grabs her on the floor. He's like, I told you he'd fucking leave you. I told you. And he's like, I don't care. I want you. Like, I know you said no, but like, I still want you.
I'm totally fine being second choice.
Exactly. And he goes, no, you'll be back in this palace. This isn't it. This isn't the last time you're here. Go, run. I'll meet with you later tonight. And she's like, in that moment, she's like, I just want to hurt Callias. I just want to hurt him.
Let's fuck.
So she grabs Leandros' face, kisses him. And he's like not kissing her back yet, but then she like bites his lip and puts her tongue in his mouth.
Okay.
And then he does start.
Okay.
That's the 0.5 of spice right there.
Okay, yeah.
And she's running her hands through his hair, hoping that Callias will see, but he doesn't. Anyway, she gets in a carriage later that night and starts driving away. And she's like looking at her hands, and she's like, what's in my hands? What is this? And she's like, I know that smell. And she's like, I thought I smelled this on Leandros. She's like, this is hair dye. Why is Leandros dyeing his hair
to look like he's from a different region.
To look like he's someone else. And so she's going through things in her head. Now, how someone can come to these conclusions, I don't know. But I'm just letting you know we came to these conclusions. Okay. If you're picking up what I'm putting down. So she realizes he's pretending to be someone he's not. He's not Leandros, nephew of Vasco.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's like, why would he be like, you'll be back in this palace before you know it?
Because I'm going to kill the king.
Yeah, Callias told me that if I ever come back, he'll kill me. So she's like, turn this fucking carriage around. I got to go back.
Yeah.
He's about to get killed, and I got to stop it. She races back to the palace. She finally gets in. She gets into a room where Callias is, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? I told you never come back. But he wasn't that aggressive. He was just like, why are you? Yeah, he's just like, why are you here? And she's like, you got to get out of here. You're not safe. And then Leandros stands up and is like, excuse me, why isn't he safe? And she goes, back away. And she like puts Callias behind her. And she's like, he's not who he fucking says he is, Callias. Look at him. Really look at him. Vasco doesn't have a nephew. This is Xanthos, your dead brother. He's been dyeing his hair to look like Leandros, your old friend.
Yeah.
Who, I don't know, they never talk about Leandros, or who the real Leandros is ever again, by the way. So I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I'm like,
because Leandros existed at one point with Ruben and Ruben and Petros. But.
Okay. That's a fucking jump.
Unless. I
was like,
there was never no Leandros.
That's what I'm saying. There was never a nephew, and he was just faking it and came here, and that was his cover story.
And was pretending to be.
And is in cahoots with the hand.
Yes.
That makes more sense.
Okay, that is what happened.
Okay, because if they swapped them, I'm like, those are the worst friends I've ever heard of.
For sure. You don't
like if someone just swapped you, and I just had no idea this whole time.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yes, no, that's what happened. So she's like, he's been dyeing his hair. He's saying he's Leandros. You know, he was beaten. His face is deformed from what Xanthos used to look like.
Oh.
And she's like, yeah, that's your fucking brother. And hold on, let me read one page to you. No, Callias says at last, no, he can't be Xanthos. I loved my brother, but he was taunting, cruel. Leandros has nothing but an actor, I finish, an assassin in disguise. Again, silence. It stretches for so long. It is you, Callias says. Xanthos looks heavenward. Great, Alessandra. Well fucking done. He doesn't say the fuck word.
Yeah.
I added that in.
Okay.
He draws his sword. I've been working on this for 4 long years. And then you have to go and ruin it all. And she's like, you're who ruined it. And then a sword fight breaks out between Callias and Xanthos.
Okay.
And she's like, fuck, what do I do? They're going to kill each other. Xanthos is going to kill him. She's like, I want to stab. A sword goes flying. Now they're fisticuffs. And she's like, I want to stab Xanthos, but what if I miss? What if I hit Callias? Whatever. Finally, she gets the blade to Xanthos's like neck and is like, get up, get off of him.
Yeah.
And like corners him into a wall. And he's like, just starts taunting her.
Slice neck.
He
dead.
hates you. He ordered you away. He's never going to love you. He's never going to touch you. All that stuff. She's like, it already happened. He's like, you're never going to kill me. You're too pussy to do it. And then she
Yeah, I would be like, I have killed.
Kills him.
I do that.
He sinks down on the knife.
Thank God.
She is still terrified that Callias is going to kill her.
For coming back.
For plotting to kill him.
But only like a little bit. Like, chill out, dude.
I know. So she, after killing Xanthos, runs away. Physically runs out of the palace.
Well, yeah. Also because homeboy's like vulnerable if she's near him.
Cut to a week later. She's been staying at one of her friend's estates while her friend's been away with her boy toy.
Oh, must be nice.
She's been heartbroken, depressed, just absolutely terrible,
Yeah.
And lonely. Finally, she's sitting at a desk, and one day she hears a voice. Would you like a visitor? Is it okay if you get a visitor?
Oh.
She turns around. It's Callias.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my God, you're here. And he goes, mm-hmm. And she's like, did you change your mind? And he goes, of course I changed my mind. And she's like, okay, then how are you going to kill me? Hang me publicly?
Oh, yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, what? No.
I want to marry you.
Runs to her, gets down on his knees, holds her hands. She's still wearing his engagement ring. And he's like, I love you. I'll love you for the rest of my life. I'll love you till the day I die.
If it's short or if it's long.
If it's short or if it's long, it's you and me, baby. And she's like, oh my God.
Stabs him.
And he's like, please, will you be my queen? And she says, yes. And they live happily ever after. And that's the book.
Yeah. It wasn't very good.
It's not a good book. Like, I'm like, these are your problems, and then they're instantly fucking solved.
Yeah.
And then the solutions make no fucking sense. The end was entertaining.
And the romance was
terrible.
Yeah. And the end got entertaining for a sec.
I was generous with the 3.65.
Yeah.
I'll admit that.
It was not very good. It was blah.
It's not what I thought it was going to be. I'll tell you that much.
It was definitely not.
It just felt like a child wrote it.
It did feel like, teen drama-y or something.
Yes,
like a teen
drama. Very much teen drama.
And not
not
really,
my vibe.
Like, the characters were not good.
And this is a horrible first romantasy book to get into, because there are some
we need a redemption
incredible
one for
romantasy
sure.
books.
We need like a good
This is
good
not one of them.
No. I would not recommend that to people.
No, for the love of God. So, what would your rating be?
Oh, like a 2.
Yeah.
Probably.
I agree with that.
You know.
I do.
Because it's like most of it wasn't good.
Yeah.
It just had like one little spike.
And there was some cutesy stuff in here, and it's like you're not getting the whole story.
Sure.
But no, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yep.
That's all right though.
That's okay.
That's okay. We needed that.
For sure.
We really needed a bad one.
Well, and the thing is like I never know they're going to be bad when I get into them.
Well, yeah, that's how that's the gamble. It's
is
the
the
risk
gamble.
we take every day.
Uh-huh. I'm trying to think. I had the book picked out. I picked it out last night.
Okay.
And now I can't remember what it was. Give me 1 second. I was going to do one called Practice Makes Perfect. It doesn't leave much up to the imagination.
Okay, practice makes perfect.
What could that be about?
Okay, got it. I think that Practice Makes Perfect is about a East Coast New York is the setting. It's going to
Love it already.
It's kind of going to be like moody, dark, and it's going to like come in. We're in the hospital and we're with our main character, MMC, male main character.
Okay.
And he is attending a physical therapy appointment for his hands. We find something has happened to his hands. He's had an accident, and his dexterity is low, and and he's real.
Tell me where this is.
You're gonna like where this is going.
Dude.
You find out like he's kind of a like let's picture.
Well, is he like a surgeon that uses his
No.
hands a lot,
I'm gonna say he's maybe like 24-ish right now, 24 to 26. He's like just like out of college and had like, you know, a couple years out of college. East Coast, pale skin, dark hair. What's that dude from Whiplash?
Also, Miles Teller. Mm-hmm. He was also in the Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that guy.
Okay.
That age, whatever.
Okay.
And he's working on his hands, physical therapy. You hear the like physical therapist is just like, I mean, you're doing great. You've got almost like, I'd say almost 90% function back. Like it's a miracle.
Good for him.
And he's grief stricken. He's sad. He's no response, just nothing. And the guy's like, I know it's not 100%, but like you're really close. You know, you should, for after what happened, like you should be.
Cool.
And then, you know, he leaves and he's on the subway and he's just sad.
Okay.
And he's going on the train, and then you start to put together that shows him like going to work, and he's a pianist. Was a pianist.
Okay.
Now he does lessons to kind of fill his time.
Wow, sad.
We start to learn that he was like a prophetic pianist, and he was just out of college. He was like, his career was starting. He was getting to do full solo shows with like a symphony orchestra, and he was like on the rise, New York's next best pianist. And then something happened. And we don't, the accident, we just keep hearing about the accident.
Yep.
We don't really like know what happened. And then it's just kind of like starts at the beginning is just following him, realizing how sad he is, that his parents are super worried about him, that he's kind of comes from like a rich family. He got the best musical education there could be. He had everything. And now like this has gone wrong, and he's a shell of a person. He's like nothing basically. And then maybe like one day he's on the subway and he's like gets off the subway and he like hears great piano music, and he just sees, you know, like a street performer just, you know, tearing it up. And it's not perfect. It's not like his level of what he was, but it just like reminds him of what it used to be. Okay. And then as he's like zoning out, having this like moment and flashback and remembering what he was, this like abrasive female voice kind of like is like, no, and like interrupts the street performer and starts correcting his form, is kind of like real in his face about it. And he gets like, he's like turned off by this. He's like pissed off, like, what's this? And it's like an older lady, let's say Nicole Kidman, an older like New York woman, pretty, maybe in her like 50s, I would say. And she's correcting the person in his face kind of, but then the guy does like start to sound better, and then she's very like encouraging. So he notices that, and then that kind of moment like ends. But then now, like on his way to work and his routine, he starts to notice her. They like take the same trains, right? Hot. Yeah. And then eventually like they one day end up like next to each other on the train, and she's like on her phone, headphones on, she's listening to piano music, and that's kind of his gateway, and like he can't help himself but like say something like, that's a beautiful piece that you're listening to or something. And then they start, and she's like, well, oh, do you like piano too, like young man or whatever? And he's like, oh, kind of like obviously knows a lot, and they like have this little conversation. And then she's like, well, what are you listening to, like what's your stuff right now? And he's like, I don't anymore. I can't. I just don't listen to like piano music. So then they kind of just have like this friendly beginning, slow burn of just like chatting on the train about piano stuff. And then he doesn't reveal like who he was or how good he was, and it's unclear if she's knows who he is. And eventually she's like, you should just come by my little like studio. She's like, I do lessons, I've been doing lessons forever, and just like, let's play around on the piano. So then, he's hesitant, but then one day he does. Nice. And then she takes a while, but she gets him to like start playing a little bit. And she can see that like when he starts to do like the most complicated pieces, that his hands like have a tremor. Yes. And he gets really embarrassed and like whatever, but she's just like, we'll just practice. Yeah, exactly. Like work it through, work your hands. Like just because you think you'll never get them back, like this is your thing, like whatever. So that's what starts their relationship, is they have this like, I'm picturing the whole piano thing. And then eventually, then he starts working his fingers somewhere else. He starts working his fingers. But I mean, yeah, it's like a slow burn. She like gets him to, she's just like, will you perform in a small recital with my little group? And then and just start practicing. And then there's long nights. Yep. And she's, I know one thing leads to another. Yeah. And she's spending hours looking at his hands and like judging the dexterity and like judging everything. And so they're large, veiny of course. Hands. Yeah. He's been doing this forever, and he's been trained. Like he's trying to get him back. But then so the whole thing is going to kind of be like, once they start fucking, she starts correcting him, his hands that as he diddles her, like she does when they're playing piano. I love that. Oh, faster. Oh, slower. More pinky. Whatever. And then it's just gonna probably come down to like, they eventually end up together, but it's like they have to overcome the like age gap. They have to overcome his ego and kind of like, he hasn't processed this accident that like crushed his hands. Yep. And it was like he was at fault. It was his fault. Like maybe it's like after his like first largest performance, he's hanging outside the limo, bottle of champagne, and hits his hands like on a sign or something reckless. It was like he was partying too hard, but he was too high at the top, and he fell all the way to the bottom. And then she, helps bring him back, they have this age gap. Reverse age gap. Reverse age gap, which is bullshit. It's just an age gap. Relationship where she kind of nurses him back to full health, finger wise, in every way that she can. Nice, good for her. And that's what I think practice makes perfect is about. We'll see. That would be a good one. I know it's going to be a sports one, probably. I don't know that it is. It sounds like it would be. I don't. Based on the cover, no. Oh, okay. Maybe the character, maybe the guy is, but it's not a sports book. I do know that. It's not the jocks. Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty sure. Well, then maybe my guess is good. Yeah, we'll see. I can picture that whole movie in my head. I just watched that movie in my head. There's like sad parts. Yeah. His parents are like not cool because it's like she's their age. For sure. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Yeah. All right. That's another episode on our new crispy clean microphone. It sure is. I hope everyone enjoyed this shitty book that I just reviewed. Yeah. Shitty book. Very quality audio. Exactly. And that's what the kind of balance you can expect here at Secondhand Smut. For sure. All right. Thanks. Bye. Bye.